Chapter 3367. Yu Ning's mother was a beautiful woman. What surprised Lin Yi was that Yu Ning looked very similar to Yu Shu. It seemed like Yu Xing wasn't lying to him. Yu Ning, on the other hand, didn't look like her mother at all. If he looked closely, he could see the shadow of Yu Shaoqin and Yu Shaojin. Of course, Yu Shaoqin was handsome when he was young. If Yu Shaojin didn't marry the wrong person, she would be here now. Grandpa. Yu Ning was a little embarrassed. Lin Yi didn't hide anything. Since Yu Xing had invited him here, it meant that he was officially accepted. So, Lin Yi held Yu Ning's hand. This feeling made Lin Yi's heart beat faster. It was as if he had returned to that year, that Valentine's Day night, the bonfire, the cave, the beasts outside, a beautiful girl sitting next to the bonfire, telling her heart to him. Everything came to Lin Yi's mind as if it was a lifetime ago. This time, holding hands, he would never let go again. He would never let go of what he had missed before. Ning, accept the inheritance with peace of mind. For you, for Shu, Yao Yao, and Xiao Xiao, I will participate in that plan. No one can stop me, Lin Yi said solemnly. Yu Shu, Meng Yao, and Xiao Xiao's names. Yu Ning had heard Yu Bing mention them before. She knew that they were Lin Yi's confidants, so she wasn't jealous. She was just touched by Lin Yi's responsibility. Of course, the reason why Yu Ning didn't reject her becoming an inheritor was because of these people. Lin Yi couldn't give up on them. At the same time, Lin Yi wouldn't give up on her. But because of House Yu, he had never made a solemn promise. Today, Lin Yi made a promise, and Yu Ning was relieved. This time, no matter how many obstacles and thorns there were, she would face them with a smile. Night. In a cave in the mountain behind House Yu, Lin Yi brought Yu Ning and lit a bonfire here. The back mountain was the hidden House Yu's forbidden grounds. Everyone from House Yu, including Yu Yi and Yu Shaoqin, didn't dare stay there for no reason. Yu Xing, however, ignored Lin Yi and Yu Ning's actions this night. Yu Ning and Lin Yi quietly sat side by side at the entrance of the cave, looking at the burning bonfire in front of them. Although there were no beasts here, there was no worry of war. But the memories of the two people seemed to have returned to the past. Yu Ning leaned her head on Lin Yi's shoulder. The two of them snuggled together, and the thousands of words in their hearts were hidden in this long night. Lin Yi and Yu Ning were communicating with each other. It seemed that they both knew what to say. Without saying anything, they could feel each other's deep concern. The next morning, Lin Yi said goodbye to Yu Ning and Yu Yuxing. He brought Xiaoga and Yu Dake out of the hidden House Yu. Yu Ning, it was time to go. Lin Yi had to return home as soon as possible and talk to Shu, because after Yu Ning it would be her. Kong Mingming, in the end, didn't find little Yi's body. He drove back to Five Elements Sect alone, and the first thing he did was to meet the Xianqin ancestor. Xiaoming, you're back? Did you find little Yi's body? The Xianqin ancestor looked at Kong Mingming and asked. No. Kong Mingming shook his head. He also felt that this matter was quite scary. Such a big living body, it just disappeared like that? Wasn't it a bit unrealistic? But so what if it wasn't realistic? Then what happened? The Xianqin ancestor frowned. Little Yi's soul jade tablet was cracked, but it didn't break. What did this mean? Could it be that there were some uncertain factors in this? Father-in-law, I don't know either. Kong Mingming smiled bitterly. In short, things are too strange. If you didn't call me, I wouldn't have known that senior brother's body had been lost. Forget it. Let's not talk about this matter for now. Maybe something unexpected happened. Although the Xianqin ancestor's scalp was a little numb, he was a top cultivator after all, so he could control his emotions very well. He looked at Kong Mingming and said, Previously you told me that Lin Yi didn't have the strength to kill a peak late stage, heaven stage, great perfection master. It should be like this. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked the Bubbly clan to take action and oh such a big favor. Kong Mingming nodded. In that case, this is a chance to kill Lin Yi. The Xianqin ancestor clicked his tongue, pondered for a moment, and said, Now we can't do anything to Lin Yi. Boss Bai is watching over there, and we're about to reach the critical moment of the Heavenly Island plan. I don't want to cause unnecessary trouble. This time, we're relying on the Bubbly clan, and we've also suffered a loss. Boss Bai might not blame us, but if we directly make a move, I can't guarantee that he won't do something desperate. But if we let Lin Yi develop like this, then whether our Heavenly Island plan can be carried out is another matter. Kong Mingming followed the Xianqin ancestor and more or less understood some things about the Heavenly Island plan. Most of those inheritors are Lin Yi's women. When the time comes, if he objects, our efforts will be in vain. That's true. The Xianqin ancestor closed his eyes. After a moment, he opened them again, and a bright light shot out. He said, "It seems that the heavenly trial is the only chance to kill Lin Yi. Father-in-law, our 5 Elements sect is going to hold a trial?" After hearing this, Kong Mingming was slightly surprised and quickly asked, "That's right, our 5 Elements sect hasn't held a trial for a long time. Taking advantage of the Heavenly Island plan, we'll hold a trial and kill Lin Yi here." The Xianqin ancestor nodded and said, "The deaths and injuries in the trial can't be investigated. Even if Boss Bai is unwilling, there's nothing we can do." But this time, who are we going to send to kill Lin Yi? Kong Mingming asked. "I'm going to let Little Fool and the Heavenly Silkworm transformation team up to kill Lin Yi. I don't believe that 2 experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage can't beat Lin Yi." The Xianqin ancestor sneered and said, "Zhao Ming, go and cultivate. You'll also participate in the heavenly trial this time. Go and experience it, but you must be careful." Chapter 3368. Don't worry. I have already talked to Dr. Benjamin too. His and Miss Land's experiment is over. This time, he will send the Zhao family's experts to be your bodyguards. Each of these Zhao family's experts has the strength of peak late stage, great perfection. "You don't have to worry about your safety," said Ancestor Xianqin. "No way? So powerful?" Kong Mingming was overjoyed after hearing it. 3 top experts. However, he was a little confused. Since these people are so powerful, why don't you let them kill Lin Yi? Isn't that easier? The 3 of them have just achieved divine power, and they don't have much experience. They haven't adapted to the identity of peak late stage, great perfection. I'm afraid they will suffer a loss if we let them kill Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi is more cunning and has some trump cards. So it's better to let Little Fool and Heavenly Silkworm transformation, who have more combat experience, take action. Ancestor Xianqin said. In addition, these people from the Zhao family, although they have hatred for Lin Yi, in the end, they are on Miss Lan's side. Miss Lan didn't mention this matter, so we can't make a decision on our own. If that's the case, then I can have a good time. Kong Mingming nodded happily after listening. Little E, let's investigate this matter a little more. A living person like that is gone just like that? Are you sure it's not Lin Yi's doing? Ancestor Xianqin was still worried about little E. It shouldn't be. I left first, and Lin Yi left later. When I left, there was a corpse in the car. Besides, what's the use of a dead person for Lin Yi? Kong Mingming shook his head. That's true. But if I don't find little Yi's body, I won't feel at ease. Is there someone else standing in the dark? I don't believe in the existence of any supernatural things, said Ancestor Xianqin. Then I'll investigate again. Although Kong Mingming said so, he didn't take it to heart. In his opinion, people were dead, so who cared where their bodies went? Okay, but be careful. Patriarch Xuanqin's words warmed Kong Mingming's heart. It seemed like Patriarch Xianqin still cared about him. Lin Yi left the hidden house you with Yu Dake and Yu Xiaoka, returning to Donghai City. On the way, Lin Yi didn't seem to be in a good mood. He kept his eyes closed, deep in thought. Yu Dake could tell that Lin Yi wasn't in a good mood, so he didn't dare to say anything. Xiaoka, on the other hand, was a little depressed. Obviously, Lin Yi and Yu Ning from the hidden house, you had something going on. She could tell from the look in her eyes when she sent him off. Although Xiaoka didn't say it, she wasn't too happy that another girl popped out. But it was only for a while. Xiaoka knew where she stood, and she was glad that the male thief only liked her. That was enough. As for Lin Yi, Xiaoka's love was for the gentle male thief in the tomb. I'm going to train for a bit. Call me if you need anything. Lin Yi finally said. There are too many things going on recently, and Lin Yi didn't have the time to train. He wasted a lot of time, and now the inheritor's plan wasn't far away. Lin Yi had to raise his strength to the next level as soon as possible. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to handle the unknown dangers in the future. Yu Ning, Yu Shu, Meng Yao, Xiao Xiao, Little Nine. These people all needed Lin Yi's protection. Lin Yi had to have the strength to look down on everyone else. Only then would he have the absolute right to speak in the plan. After entering the Jade Space, Lin Yi was about to sit down and train. But suddenly, Lin Yi saw a corner of the Jade Space. He was shocked and almost screamed. Luckily, it was in the Jade Space. Otherwise, wouldn't Xiaoka and Yu Dake be shocked? Fuck, Jiao Lao, what are you doing? What is this? Lin Yi pointed at the corner of the Jade Space. Isn't that Little Yi's body? How did you get into my space? Lin Yi wasn't afraid of dead people, but an enemy's body appearing in the Jade Space out of nowhere made Lin Yi a little uneasy. It's not me. It's that guy, Jiao Yazi said as he pointed at the ghost in the corner. Ghost Senior, you're awake? Lin Yi paused and asked. Yes, he's awake. This corpse is pretty good. It's a peak late heaven rank expert at the Great Perfection realm, a bit stronger than an ordinary Great Perfection expert. I'll temporarily refine him into my puppet avatar to play with. I've recently recovered a lot of my spirit power here. The spiritual energy here is really abundant. Haha. The ghost suddenly laughed. Speaking of which, I have to thank you for giving me such a good toy. Puppet doppelganger. Lin Yi paused. He didn't understand what the ghost meant. You brought this body in. How can you control the Jade Space? Haha. In the space of the Jade Pendant, I'm actually half the owner of the space. If you can bring things in, then I can too. You can ask Elder Jiao, he can do it too. The ghost laughed. Of course, this is all thanks to the Jade Space you made. If you didn't make it, I wouldn't be able to bring the body in. I see. Lin Yi shuddered. Luckily, he wasn't afraid of these things. Otherwise, he'd be scared to death. Then did you make it? What's the purpose of refining this so-called puppet clone? Actually, it's not that useful. I just want to send a strand of my primordial spirit into this corpse and turn it into my puppet doppelganger. It can move freely in the outside world. Of course, it's still a little weak for me. I'll just take it as I'm bored and go out to play. The ghost said. It's equivalent to another me. It can be controlled by the me in the Jade Space. Oh, in other words, it's equivalent to a Sky-class late phase master outside the Jade Space. Moreover, it's controlled by you? Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised. Isn't this equivalent to having an extra fighter? However, after the excitement, Lin Yi calmed down. Although this was a powerful fighter, would this ghost be willing to work for him? He'd asked it for help several times before, but it was cold and indifferent. This time, it should be even more unwilling to let its clone be a fighter. Chapter 3369. Then, Senior, can you send this puppet avatar to help me? Lin Yi pondered for a moment and asked, for example, when I'm in danger. Well, yes. The ghost didn't hesitate this time. It directly agreed without much thought, which made Lin Yi very surprised. He thought that he had heard it wrong. Senior Ghost, did you just say yes? Lin Yi asked with a little bit of disbelief. Yes. The ghost laughed and said, don't be surprised. In fact, my puppet avatar still needs your help to enter and exit the space of the Jade Pendant. Although I can also control it, it will consume a lot of my spirit power. I don't want to use my spirit power in this place. When the time comes, I will need your help. Oh, however, if I were to help, wouldn't that mean that this puppet clone would enter another space? The one that I refined? Lin, he pointed to the space where he stored things. That won't happen. This puppet avatar has a mind and retains my thoughts. It will automatically choose the space that it needs, and it won't enter the space next to it. The ghost explained. I see. Lin he suddenly understood. Then is this thing alive or dead? How can it enter the space, but other living things can't? Other things can, but there's no air inside, so it can't be breathed. The ghost said until here, but was suddenly interrupted by Jiao Yazi. Ahem. Jiao Yazi coughed twice. Haha, I won't say it. Jiao Yazi won't let me say it. The ghost quickly stopped talking. Obviously, when Lin he wasn't in the space, the two of them had communicated, which made Lin he very unhappy. Obviously, it was hidden from him. This puppet avatar isn't a living person. Of course, it can't be said to be a dead person. It can only be called a living dead. It doesn't need to breathe. It only needs to absorb the aura of heaven and earth to replenish its physical strength, and its thoughts are controlled by the old ghost. Jiao Yazi explained. As for other living people, they can't come in for the time being. Okay. Lin he heard Jiao Yazi's words. So, could he come in the future? However, Lin he didn't want to ask anymore. If he asked, it would be useless because his memory hadn't recovered. Moreover, Lin he had a puppet avatar with the strength of the late peak of Heaven stage to help him. It was already a very good thing. It seemed that this trip was very rewarding. If there are more corpses of masters with the strength of the late peak of Heaven stage, can you continue to refine the puppet avatar? Lin he asked. I can, but it consumes a lot of my spirit power. It's not interesting. Moreover, I see that this master with the strength of the late peak of Heaven stage is stronger than the others, so I got it for fun. The others are too weak. I'm not interested. The ghost said, You are quite suitable. Why don't I refine you? Then forget it. Although Lin knew that the ghost was joking, he still shuddered. If it wanted to make a move on him, it would have done it a long time ago. It was obviously to scare him. Hee, I will continue to sleep. My puppet avatar is always awake. If there's anything, you can find him. After the ghost finished speaking, it didn't move at all. Senior Ghost, are you dormant? Lin tried to ask. Yes, the puppet avatar suddenly spoke, and it gave Lin a fright. The voice was exactly the same as little E. Ugh, okay, you go on with your work. Lin felt weird. The addition of little E in the jade space really made him feel uncomfortable. No wonder Kong Ming Ming was looking for corpses everywhere. It turned out that the corpse was brought by the ghost. Lin sat cross-legged and began to practice. The car sped on the road. When they reached Donghai City, it was already midnight. However, the sound of the car still woke Yushu up. Han Jingjing had already returned to her villa to do experiments. This girl was so busy that she couldn't hear the outside world at all. Shield bro, you're back? Yushu looked a little haggard. Lin felt a slight pain in his heart. Perhaps she already knew from Yui that she was going to Fiery Mountain. Shoo, let's go in and talk. Lin reached out and rubbed her forehead. You didn't rest before. Yeah, I have something to tell you. Yui called me before. Shu was a little down. I know, I went to the hidden house Yu Xing and Elder Yu already told me everything. Lin said, It's about going to Fiery Mountain, right? Yeah. I'm leaving in a few days, Yushu sighed. Yushu sighed softly. I knew this day would come, but I didn't think it'd come so soon. Yao Yao's gone, I'm gone, and Xi and Yan's fainted. I'm really worried about the family. Linny bro, don't look at me like I'm an idiot. Yeah, I know, but don't worry, after you go, I'll go find you guys in no time. I'll be a part of that plan, and I won't let anyone hurt you guys. Absolutely not. Lin nodded solemnly. Yeah, Shu believes that Shield Bro will be very powerful. Don't forget that I'm Prophet Shu. Yushu smiled and clenched her fist. Prophet Shu. Lin Yi suddenly remembered Yu Xing's words. No wonder Shu's words had come true so many times. Before, Lin Yi thought that it was a coincidence, but now that he thought about it, it wasn't. This was Shu's innate talent. But now that she said it, it made Lin Yi more confident in facing the future plan. If Shu really predicted that the future wouldn't be smooth, she would probably stop it at all costs, right? Or maybe she didn't predict anything, and her words were just to comfort Lin Yi. But no matter what, Lin Yi was full of courage and confidence now. In the living room of the villa, Yu Dake and Yu Xiaoka sat on the sofa. Lin Yi didn't want to hide anything from them. Ever since Lin Yi knew about Yu Xiaoka's ability, he planned to train her to be his best assistant in battle. Yu Xiaoka's ability could save lives in critical moments, especially when Lin Yi used his ultimate skill. He used up all his energy. As long as Yu Xiaoka could hold on for a while, Lin Yi would have the chance to recover. Chapter 30, 370. It's nothing, right? Did Yui tell you about your parents? Lin Yi felt that he had to tell Shu about this. With Shu's mature personality, she wouldn't do anything irrational. Oh, no, Shield Bro, are you going to the hidden house to help me find my parents? Yushu asked quickly. Part of it. You've heard of Yuning, right? Lin Yi nodded. Yeah, isn't she Shield Bro's first love? Yushu had heard about Yuning before, so she wasn't too surprised. Her other identity is the inheritor of the water element, Lin Yi said. Ah, she's also an inheritor? Holy shit! All the inheritors are Shield Bro's wives? Yushu's eyes widened in shock. Uft, isn't there a mist and wood element too? Lin Yi felt that this was quite a coincidence. All the inheritors were related to him in some way, but was it really a coincidence? Lin Dongfang and Mo Kongwen might just smile and not say anything. Was it planned? Or mist element? Yushu opened her mouth, but didn't say anything. I think so too. Ahem. Okay. It can't be Yu Xiaoka and Wang Xinyan, right? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I don't know. Yushu shook her head. So House Yu's miss is also an inheritor. Her most important identity isn't an inheritor, but your sister. Lin Yi suddenly said. Oh, Yushu blinked. My sister? What do you mean? She clearly didn't understand what Lin Yi was talking about. It was too sudden, and it was hard for her to understand. Yu Ning is your sister, Lin Yi said seriously. Your real name is Yu Shu, and you're from the hidden house Yu. Ah, Yu Ning is my sister? Then my parents. At this moment, Shu, who was always calm and had a mischievous look on her face, was a little flustered. This news was too shocking. It overturned everything she knew in the past 10 years. Although Shu knew that she wasn't from House Qin, she always thought that House Yu kidnapped her parents and forced her to do something. But now, Lin Yi said that she was from House Yu? How was this possible? Your parents are Yu Xiaoqin and his wife. Your grandfather is Yu Xing. You and Yu Ning are twin sisters. She's the older sister, and you're the younger sister. It's that simple, Lin Yi said. How is this possible? Then why did Yui treat me like that? Brother Lin Yi, are you lying to Shu? Is it because Shu's parents are dead and you're trying to comfort her? Yushu didn't believe Lin Yi's words. When have I ever lied to you? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Actually, it's like this. With that, Lin Yi told Yushu everything Yuxing said in detail. Yushu wasn't stupid. In fact, she was very smart. She fell into silence after hearing Lin Yi's words. But it was obvious that she believed the truth. She was indeed from the hidden house Yu, and she was Yu Xing's granddaughter. So, actually, House Yu had no choice. They were afraid that I would go home to see my parents and sister, so they lied to me? Yushu sighed softly. Yes, although they lied to you, there's a reason behind it. Of course, I'm not trying to excuse them. I just think that since they are your family, and you've been looking forward to it for so long, there's no need to make things unpleasant. Lin explained. No, actually, they think that I'm crazy and would do anything. It's not like that. Shield bro, you know Shu the best, don't you? If I knew the truth, I would never go to my sister. Yushu shook her head and murmured. I know, but your disguise has successfully fooled many people, including Yao Yao. So, there's a reason why House you lied to you, Lin Yi said. But you don't hate your sister, do you? If you gave her away, you would be the princess of House Yu. No, I think I'm very lucky. If I stayed in the hidden House Yu, how sad would that be? I wouldn't be able to meet Yao Yao, and I wouldn't be able to meet Shield Bro, Yushu said happily and confidently. Lin Yi sighed in relief. Didn't Ning meet me too? Even if she did, it wouldn't be as easy as Shu meeting Shield Bro. Her family doesn't even allow her to meet him. But Shu can live with Shield Bro. I'm afraid that my sister would be jealous of me. Yushu smiled. Lin Yi didn't know if Shu was telling the truth or not. She was too good at hiding her true feelings and thoughts. But no matter what, Shu's attitude made Lin Yi sigh in relief. But although she is my sister, I still support Yao Yao sis as the main wife. This won't change. Shu's position is very firm, Yushu said suddenly. Uft. Ahem, Shu. I'm talking about something serious. Why are you saying this all of a sudden? Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. Shu is talking about something serious. Yushu said matter-of-factly. Huh. So, you're saying that you can let go of the knot in your heart and go to Fiery Mountain? Before you leave, I'll go with you to the hidden House Yu? Lin Yi asked. I'm not going. Actually, my parents are just something I've been looking forward to for a long time. Now that I know about it, I don't really want to see them anymore. Thinking about it, the closest people to me are actually Yao Yao sis and Shield Bro, as well as House Chen's parents, grandpa and brother. I don't have any sense of belonging in the hidden House Yu. My Yuning sis, I can accept her because of Shield Bro, but I suddenly don't want to see anyone else. Yushu shook her head lightly. All right, I'll listen to you. Lin Yi suddenly felt a little sad. Yushu always thought that her parents were forced by House Yu. Now that she knew that wasn't the case, her persistence was shattered. Naturally, she didn't feel much about the hidden House Yu anymore. Shu's a little sleepy. I'm going to sleep. Shield Bro, see you tomorrow. Yushu stood up slowly. For the first time, she didn't ask Lin Yi about the adventure in Hakanamada Desert. Lin Yi knew that Shu must have suffered quite a big blow today. He didn't say anything else. Yeah, good night. Sweet dreams. Chapter 3371. Xiaoka and Dake actually sympathized with Yushu. She was a pitiful girl, especially since Yushu had helped the orphanage before. Xiaoka didn't hate her at all. Xiaoka had started to accept the people around Lin Yi. She liked the identity of a male thief, but in reality, Lin Yi was Lin Yi. Male thief, my brother and I are sleepy. Are there any empty rooms here? Xiaoka didn't want to disturb Lin Yi. She knew that Lin Yi was going to see Xinyan, so she didn't want to disturb him. Okay, I'll find 2 rooms for you. Lin Yi nodded and stood up, arranging rooms for Xiaoka and Dake. After everything was arranged, Lin Yi walked to his room. Xinyan was arranged to stay here, and now that Lin Yi had the energy stones, naturally he had to save Xinyan first. Opening the door, Lin Yi saw Xinyan lying on his bed with a pale face. Compared to when Lin Yi left, she seemed even more haggard. Of course, it could be Lin Yi's imagination. Lin Yi took out 2 energy stones from the jade space. They had been fully charged for the past few days, but Lin Yi wasn't sure if they could wake Xinyan up. Lin Yi didn't know if the unconscious Xinyan could absorb the energy from the stones on her own. No matter what, Lin Yi put the stones next to Xinyan's pillow and observed it silently. He wanted to see if the color of the stones would dim. That would prove that Xinyan had absorbed the energy from the stones. In actuality, Lin Yi was wondering if Xinyan could absorb the energy from his body, but it didn't seem to work. Wang Xinyan didn't have the incantation, and the energy in her body wasn't pure spiritual qi. She couldn't convert it into the energy that Wang Xinyan needed. She was different from spirit beasts. However, after observing for a while, Lin Yi did not find any obvious changes in the energy stone. So he took out his phone and prepared to find Auntie Qing to ask. After all, Auntie Qing should know more. Aunt Qing. Lin Yi dialed Aunt Qing's number. Aunt Qing's position in the ice palace allowed her to have her own satellite phone. Little Yi, how is it? How's the physical condition of the friend you mentioned? Aunt Qing's caring voice sounded on the other side of the phone, warming Lin Yi's heart. Aunt Qing, I found the energy stone, but when I placed it by her pillow, she still hasn't woken up. Moreover, I don't see much change in the energy stone. She doesn't seem to be absorbing it. Lin Yi asked anxiously. It's impossible that she doesn't absorb it. She's relying on her body to naturally absorb the spiritual qi around her, but the speed and flow are relatively slow. You can't see it with the naked eye. Aunt Qing explained. Let alone her, even practitioners who use the energy stone to cultivate won't be able to see any changes in the energy stone within a few days. There's nothing strange about it. So that's how it is. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief and asked, Then when will she wake up? That's hard to say. It depends on the abundance of the spiritual qi around her, the amount of energy contained in the energy stone, and the surface area of the energy stone, Aunt Qing said. Surface area? Lin Yi paused and said, The size of the energy stone also matters. That's right. The bigger the energy stone, the more energy can be absorbed in the same amount of time. Of course, this is also related to the amount of energy contained in the energy stone itself, Aunt Qing explained. Then, what if there are more energy stones? If a lot of energy stones are placed around her, will it help her wake up faster? Lin Yi listened to Aunt Qing's explanation and was immediately delighted. That's natural, but energy stones are relatively rare. Very few people will do this, Aunt Qing said. Right, little Yi? Did you get a lot of energy stones? Yes, I brought back a car full of energy stones from the Bubbly clan. The trunk is full. Lin Yi didn't hide it, but he didn't mention the status of the energy stones either. That many. Aunt Qing was a little surprised. If that's the case, if you have spare time, I suggest you give a few to Xiao Xiao. She doesn't have a level barrier. If there are energy stones in hand, it can help her quickly reach the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage. That works. Lin Yi didn't expect energy stones to have this kind of use. Yes, it's just that there aren't many energy stones left in the training world. The only ones are concentrated in the 5-element sect. But although the 5-element sect is... At this point, Aunt Qing suddenly stopped. She didn't know how much Lin Yi knew, so she didn't want Lin Yi to get involved in order to avoid trouble. What about the 5-element sect? Lin Yi asked. The inheritor plan should be led by the 5-element sect, right? Won't they give the energy stones to the inheritors? If there are leftovers, they might, but right now they're focusing on improving the strength of a practitioner called medium, so they'll definitely put him first, Aunt Qing said. As for Xiao Xiao, the relationship between the Ice Palace and the 5-element sect is very subtle. I don't know if we can get it in the end. Of course, if it's a small amount, 1 or 2 won't be very useful. Then, how many energy stones does Xiao Xiao need to improve his strength to the peak of the late stage of Heaven class? Lin Yi asked. About 20 energy stones the size of a fist, Aunt Qing said. From the yellow class to the earth class, 1 energy stone is enough, but from the earth class to the peak of the late stage of Heaven class, it'll need about 20. The higher the level, the more heaven and earth energy is needed. You can understand the reason behind this, right? I know this. 20? Okay, no problem. I'll have someone send you 30. Lin Yi had a lot of energy stones in his hands. 30 really wasn't much. What? 30? You can't use that much. Aunt Ching was shocked. Little E, if you give all of these to me, what about your friends? It's okay, I still have more. Lin E said, right, but please don't throw away the energy stones that have been used. I still have use for them. Chapter 3372. More updates, asking for recommendation votes. Mobile readers, please cast a few monthly votes. That's good. I'll get someone to send it over right away. Lin E wasn't expecting such a pleasant surprise. Lin E could still go to the Hakanamada Desert and ask for energy stones from the Bubbles clan. But the Bubbles clan was just too far from here. He had the purple lightning beast. But Lin E couldn't bring too many back this time. The Ice Palace being able to trade for some made up for the lack of numbers. You can give the rest of the stones to the Ice Palace as a reward. Tell me when you're done with it. Don't worry about it. The Ice Palace is Xiao Xiao's home now. And with your relationship with Aunt Qing, I'll be fine with it. Oh, that's great. Aunt Qing was overjoyed. With the rest of the stones as rewards for the Ice Palace disciples, it would be able to motivate them to train and raise a batch of Sky Class. One had to know that going from Earth Late Phase Peak to Sky Class didn't require that many stones. One was enough, and these 10 extra stones could raise 10 Sky Class Masters. The Ice Palace's strength would increase as well. Thank you so much, Aunt Qing said gratefully. It's nothing. I have to thank you, Aunt Qing. Lin E shook his head. Aunt Qing, about that practitioner's art, please help me look for it. All right, I understand, Aunt Qing replied. After hanging up, Lin E took out all the energy stones from the jade space and placed them around Xinyan. There were over 1,000 of them, and they surrounded Xinyan in an instant. It was as if Xinyan was sleeping in a pit made out of stones. Interesting. After that, Lin E called Chikuin. Chikuin, come over for a bit. Lin E didn't explain too much, and Chikuin quickly appeared in Lin Yi's villa. Boss, I'm here. You're back? What do you need me to do? Chikuin was the type who was always on standby. Ride the purple thunderbolt beast to the Ice Palace and give Xiao Xiao 30 energy stones. Also, bring back all the energy stones from the Ice Palace. Lin E told Chikuin, go next door and ask Han Jingjing for the energy stones. She has a lot. Lin E didn't touch Wang Xinyan's. Instead, he asked him to take Han Jingjing's so that he could give more to Wang Xinyan. No problem, I'll go now. Chikuin had been to the Ice Palace before and knew Xiao Xiao. Yes, let's go now. Come back quickly, Lin E said. All right, I'll go now. Chikuin didn't waste any time and left. Lin E, on the other hand, returned to Wang Xinyan's room, only to find that Wang Xinyan's eyes were open. She was looking at the energy stones around her with a confused and curious expression. Where am I? Am I dead? Is this my coffin? Xinyan looked at the energy stones around her, thinking that it was some kind of special coffin. She didn't know where she was. Xinyan, you're awake. Lin E was surprised and happy. Lin E, I'm at your house? Xinyan remembered abruptly that she seemed to have followed Lin E to his villa, and then went to sleep with Yushu at night. She didn't remember anything after that. Could she have been unconscious all this time? It seemed like it, but what were these things around her? Why did Xinyan feel like she was filled with energy all of a sudden? Like she was full of energy? As if she had never been sick before? Yes, you're at home. You fainted earlier, and I heard that your body could absorb energy from the surroundings, so I got some energy stones and it worked. It seems like your body can absorb the energy from these stones. Lin E said it very casually, as if it was something very normal. But Xinyan knew that it wasn't easy for Lin E to do all this. Xinyan didn't know how precious these energy stones were, nor did she know how he got them. But from the looks of it, they weren't ordinary. It wasn't easy for Lin E to get so many of them all at once. Xinyan felt a little touched, but she wasn't very good at expressing her gratitude. She was a quiet girl, and she wasn't very good at expressing her feelings with words. She only felt that Lin Yi treated her very well, and if Lin Yi asked her to do anything, she would do it, including giving up her life. Xinyan seemed to think of something all of a sudden. With these energy stones, I won't faint anymore. Lin Yi, I feel like I'm full of energy. It's all because of these energy stones, right? HM, you feel full of energy? It seems like these energy stones are very effective. That's great. Lin Yi was very happy after hearing Xinyan's words. It seemed like Aunt Qing's method was very effective. Then, can you hug me and train? You don't have to worry about me fainting because of the energy stones, right? Xinyan said, blushing. Train. Xinyan was a fatal temptation to Lin Yi. Not only could he hug her to sleep, but he could also increase his strength. It was a win-win situation like this, and naturally Lin Yi would like it. But right now, Lin Yi couldn't be sure if his training speed with Xinyan in his arms would be faster than Xinyan's own absorption speed. It wouldn't be a problem if it was slower than Xinyan's absorption speed. But if it was faster, wouldn't Xinyan faint every day? 1 or 2 days was fine. But if she passed out every day, wouldn't that cause problems for her body? Lin Yi felt that it was better to be cautious. After all, this was related to Xinyan's health. You've just woken up. Why don't you pass? I don't want to affect your health. Lin Yi rejected after some hesitation. It's fine, I'll give it a try. Xinyan suddenly felt a little embarrassed. I haven't been hugged in a long time. I kind of miss it. Being hugged by Lin Yi made Xinyan feel very comfortable and at ease. She hadn't felt this way in a long time, and it made her miss it a little. Then, all right. Lin Yi didn't want to reject Xinyan's offer. It'd be a little hurtful, too. If it didn't work after one night, Lin Yi could stop training. Chapter 3373. But I'm not sleepy right now. I'm full of energy. Lin Yi, can you tell me where these energy stones came from and what's going on with my body? Xinyan's breathing was a little ragged from Lin Yi's hug, and she wanted to change the topic and talk to Lin Yi. All right, we'll have to start from the day you fell unconscious. Lin Yi didn't reject the offer. Xinyan had been unconscious for so many days, and it was only natural that he'd just woken up. Xinyan listened to Lin Yi's story, and while Lin Yi was playing it down, it was still a very dangerous thing. Just running into Kong Mingming in the bubble Li clan wasn't a good thing. Kong Mingming was a narrow-minded man, and he'd always been pissed that she'd been with Lin Yi instead of his brother. There was no way he wouldn't cause trouble for Lin Yi. But now that Lin Yi was talking about it, it made it sound like Lin Yi had run into Kong Mingming, and he'd gotten his friends from the Bubble Li clan to get rid of Little One, and Kong Mingming owed him a chi gathering pill. No matter how you looked at it, it was Lin Yi bullying Kong Mingming. Of course, Xinyan knew that Lin Yi wasn't someone like that, but she didn't question him. She listened quietly, surprised by the number of energy stones around her. You're saying that the jade on your chest can charge energy stones? Xinyan and Lin Yi often slept in each other's arms, and naturally knew that Lin Yi had a jade as well. She didn't ask about it, but now that Lin Yi was talking about it, she realized just how powerful Lin Yi's jade was. Not only did it have a storage space, it could charge energy stones as well. Yeah, it's just that living people can't go in. If it's possible to go in, I'll let you in directly. Then, I won't have to worry about your body's energy loss anymore. Lin Yi said regretfully. Lin Yi had an indescribable trust in Xinyan, so he told her about the jade pendant. Moreover, with Lin Yi's current strength, there was no need to hide these things. Things were different now. The enemies that Lin Yi feared in the past were now afraid of Lin Yi. It doesn't matter. Energy stones are the same. I can still be full of energy after using energy stones to recharge them. Xinyan suddenly realized how blessed she was. Lin Yi was willing to go through all that trouble just to get these energy stones for her. Can you tell me more about what happened? I want to hear. Sure. Lin Yi knew that Xinyan had fainted before, and while she had enough energy stones, she was still worried that she'd faint again. Talking to her now would put her at ease. Gradually, Xinyan grew sleepy as well. She fell asleep in Lin Yi's arms, a satisfied and happy smile still on her face. Lin Yi took a deep breath and entered the jade space, trying to use Xinyan's fragrance to speed up his training once more. Lin Yi's strength had gone through a couple of levels. He was now Sky Class mid-phase thanks to the Qi gathering pill. It wasn't easy to level up again, but Lin Yi's third stage of the art of dragon mastery was close to perfection. Lin Yi was already looking forward to the benefits of the fourth stage. The next morning, Lin Yi drove the jeep to school with Yushu and Xinyan, just like before. It had been a while since Lin Yi last came to school, and he couldn't help but feel a little absent-minded. In the blink of an eye, there were two people missing from his side. Han Jingjing and Meng Yao wouldn't be in school anymore. Ever since Han Jingjing's identity was exposed, she hadn't been coming back to school. It seemed that her previous identity was just to hide it from Lin Yi. Meng Yao, on the other hand, hadn't been back since she went to the Dark Palace. After that, it was probably Shu's turn. Shu didn't have much time left in this school, but when they arrived at school, Lin Yi suddenly realized that there was no one there. Right, it's already the holidays. Lin Yi laughed bitterly. Why didn't you guys remind me? Oh. Yushu raised her head. Shield bro, where are we going? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile at Yushu's words. It seemed that he wasn't the only one with a heavy heart these past few days. Even Shu was the same. It seemed that Shu didn't even know that he was going to school. She just followed Lin Yi out in a daze. It's fine, we're just going for a ride. Lin Yi shrugged. I lost track of time when I fainted. I thought school started. Xinyan was a little embarrassed. All right, let's go home. Lin Yi smiled and started the car. Overseas Practitioners Association. This year, He Luodong also received an invitation to the Sky Class trials. He was the first to receive it. As the younger brother of the acting head of the Five Elements sect, Elder Xianqin only notified him because they were relatives, but in reality, Elder Xianqin didn't have much hope that He Luodong would send someone to participate. After all, it was a long journey, and the rewards of the Sky Class trials weren't enough to move He Luodong. But He Luodong was really moved. Of course, what moved him wasn't the rewards, but the fact that Lin Yi would be participating in the Sky Class trials. This was what the Xianqin ancestor had written to his family at the back of the invitation. The Xianqin ancestor was prepared to let his disciple, Little Heir, and the young master of the heavenly elixir sect, Sky Silkworm form, attack together to kill Lin Yi. It could be said that He Luo hated Lin Yi to the bone, so he wanted to participate in what the Xianqin ancestor had said. Elder Wang, can you call Song over? I have something to talk to her about. He Luodong said after a moment of silence. Guest Song? Leader, are you going to let her? Elder Wang also read the invitation and letter from Elder Xianqin. He knew what He Luodong was thinking. Yes, I've thought about it. Only Song is familiar with the Central Plains, and her strength is not a problem. He Luodong nodded. Chapter 3374. If you have something to say, just say it. He Luonan could tell that Elder Wang was implying something, but this Elder Wang was one of them, so there was nothing to hide. Yes, Elder Wang nodded. After pondering for a moment, he cautiously said, President, even though guest Elder Song owes us a favor, you must have forgotten that her identity is extraordinary. If we were to request for her help, it would be fine if it's a small matter. But if it's a big matter, shouldn't we consult the honorary Great Elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association? If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. He Luonan suddenly realized. In the association, there was an honorary Grand Elder who was also a training maniac. These years, he had used the association's resources to break through again and again, and now he was at Sky Class Late Phase Peak Full Circle. When He Luonan first came here, he was only a mystic late phase peak. But after receiving the resources, this person had been progressing rapidly. He was a rare training genius. But this person's strength was special, and Hiluonen didn't dare to restrict him too much. So he gave him the title of Honorary Grand Elder. He didn't ask about the association's affairs, and only trained in isolation every day, trying to find an opportunity to step into the heavenly law. Of course, the association didn't have any use for him at the moment. Even Hiluonen hadn't seen this person for a few years. If Chairman Wang didn't mention it, he would have forgotten about it. There was a reason why he mentioned the Honorary Grand Elder at this time. This Honorary Grand Elder's name was Song Xianghua, and it was said that he was Guest Song's second grandfather. This made Hiluonen feel that a tiger had no grandchildren. His entire family was a top-level master. Of course, this news hadn't been confirmed, and no one dared to ask Song Xianghua about such a small matter. As for Guest Elder Song, she was just a guest elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association. She was even more distant than the honorary elders. Her profession was an assassin and mercenary, and she was usually not in the association. She would only come if there was a major event. However, when there was a major event, it was even more impossible for anyone to ask about it. How about this? Invite Guest Elder Song here and I'll ask her. If she really is Great Elder Song's granddaughter, I'll bring her to meet Great Elder Song. Hiluodong had to be careful. Although Song Xianghua was his subordinate, their strength was equal. In the world of practitioners, strength spoke louder. This last matter will have to be used sooner or later. Besides, she is a mercenary and an assassin. She is not like us. Even if she has reached the peak of external martial arts and is considered a practitioner, she will not join us. Since he would have to use this opportunity sooner or later, he might as well use it now. I'm using her this time because I'm afraid that my big brother won't be able to kill that Lin Yi. That Lin Yi was extremely strange. If that little fool and the heavenly silkworm transformation were not his match, wouldn't that mean that Lin Yi would be able to leave alive? But with Honored Guest Song, a peak late-stage heaven-stage external sect assassin, Lin Yi will definitely die. Oh, that's true. Then I'll go invite Honored Guest Song. Elder Wang nodded. In the afternoon, President Wang returned, and with him came a young girl who looked to be 18 or 19 years old. She looked like a sunny and beautiful student, wearing a t-shirt, hot pants, and sunglasses. Walking in the crowd, the only thing that could attract people's attention was that she was pretty, and from other aspects, it was really hard to tell that she was a female killer. Seeing Honored Guest Song come in, Hiluodong did not dare to be arrogant. He stood up and greeted, "Honored Guest Song, you're here. Welcome, welcome." "President He, are you looking for me for the third matter?" Honored Guest Song smiled and did not bother with pleasantries. "After this matter is over, I won't be Honored Guest Song anymore." Hiluodong's face froze for a moment. He laughed dryly and said, "Even if you're not our honored guest elder, we are both practitioners from overseas. We are still friends. Say it, what's the matter?" Honored Guest Song did not say anything else and asked directly, "The matter? Before I say it, I want to ask if Honored Guest Song has any intention of returning to the Central Plains?" Hiluodong asked. "Return to the Central Plains?" "Huaxia." Honored Guest Song was stunned. "Yes, Huaxia," Hiluodong said and handed the invitation letter given to him by Ancestor Xianqin to Honored Guest Song. Then he said, "Honored Guest Song, take a look at this invitation letter first." "Oh, invitation letter? Where is it from?" Honored Guest Song was slightly stunned. Then he took the letter from Hiluodong and looked at it. The Heaven Class Trial? Initiated by the Five Elements Sect? Ancient Sect? Honored Guest Song was obviously not very clear about the division of powers in the Central Plains, but he had a general idea of the framework. "Yes, and it is the most powerful sect among the ancient sections." Hiluodong nodded and said, "Honored Guest Song, can you participate in this trial?" "Why me?" Honored Guest Song did not answer, but asked a question instead. "Well, I want you to find a chance to kill someone in the trial. If you agree, I will tell you in detail, He Luodong said. However, isn't this mission a little too far away? Honored guest Song slightly frowned. Moreover, according to the rules set by the King of Assassins, it is against the rules for our assassins to appear in Huaxia without permission. President He, you should know who the King of Assassins is, right? Of course I know. He is one of the famous Killer Vajra duo. He Luodong laughed dryly and said, Honored guest Song is a relative of great elder Song Xianghua. Honored guest Song slightly raised his eyebrows and looked at He Luodong with a smile that was not a smile. President He, you are really well informed. Yes, he is my second grandfather. As far as I know, Great Elder Song is from the Central Plains. You can use the excuse of going home to visit your family. There are no restrictions, right? Even if it is the Killer Vajra duo, they can't control that much, right? He Luodong smiled. Moreover, there has been no news of the Killer Vajra duo for a long time. Honored guest Song thought for a moment and said, Come with me to see my second grandfather. I will ask him what he has to say. That is exactly what I was thinking. Honored guest Song, please follow me. He Luodong made an inviting gesture. The place where Song Xianghua went into seclusion was located in the Overseas Cultivators Association. It was a villa with its own courtyard. He Luodong brought honored guest Song to the front of the villa, but he did not rashly enter. Instead, he raised his voice and said, Is Great Elder Song here? I have something to discuss with him. Chapter 33-75. He Luo and guest Song entered the villa. Song Xianghua was already sitting on the sofa in the living room to welcome them. President, He welcome. Xiao Rui, why are you here? Song Xianghua was surprised to see guest Chamberlain Song at the side. Second Grandpa, I came to find you today because of my own business. Guest Song, who was called Xiao Rui, said respectfully, Oh, tell me, why are you looking for me? Song Xianghua nodded. His current attitude was very good. If it was only President He would not have said so much. Let me explain. He Luan smiled and took over the conversation. Then he smiled and said, This is what happened. Saying this, He Luo explained everything, including the matter of sending guest Elder Song to kill someone. Oh, the Central Plains of China. Song Xianghua's eyes flashed with a strong sense of nostalgia. I haven't been back for a long time. I wonder how my family is? Xiao Rui, I will accompany you this time. He Luo was overjoyed when he heard that Song Xianghua was going back. If Song Xianghua joined in, wouldn't Lin Yi be dead for sure? Great Elder Song, are you going to join in too? He Luo asked carefully. I won't join in. Xiao Rui's strength is enough for her to participate in the trial. I will be a laughing stock if I join at my age. Besides, there should be an age limit for this trial, right? Song Xianghua said lightly. Although there was no age limit for this trial, He Luo did not insist since Song Xianghua said so. He could also see that He Luo was not interested. All right, then Great Elder Song agrees to let guest Song help? Xiao Rui owes you a favor. She should help. You don't have to ask for my opinion. Song Xianghua shook his head and said, All right, President He, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving with Xiao Rui. I'll be going back for a long time this time. We'll meet again someday. Whether Xiao Rui's mission is successful or not, it has nothing to do with us. I want her to live with me for a while longer and feel the atmosphere of her hometown. This, of course, no problem. He Luonan was stunned for a moment, then he nodded. He Luonan didn't want Song Xianghua and guest Song to go back. Who knew if Song Xianghua would come back in the future? But he couldn't refuse. Facing a peak late-stage heaven rank master, He Luanlan was under a lot of pressure. He didn't have the confidence to win. Even if Song Xianghua stayed, it would be a lose-lose situation. Furthermore, he had fought the Red Conch's general manager head-on and had yet to recover from his injuries. He did not dare to act rashly now. That's good, then we'll take our leave. Xiao Rui, stay here and help second Grandpa pack his things, Song Xianghua said to guest Song. This was equivalent to asking He Luonan to leave. First, Elder Song, I'll take my leave. See you again. He Luonan smiled bitterly and turned to leave. As for the details of guest Elder Song's mission, I will call him later. He Luonan didn't have the chance to tell Song Xianghua about the details of the mission before Song Xianghua asked him to stay. He could only choose to talk about it later. Xiao Rui, I didn't expect you to be a peak late stage heaven rank master at such a young age. When we return to the Song family this time, the Song family status will definitely reach the ancient level. The Song family will become an ancient family. Just thinking about it makes me excited. Song Xianghua's face suddenly showed a trace of deep fascination and nostalgia. When he was young, he left home in pursuit of cultivation. Thinking of the determination in his eyes before he left, and his big brother's reluctance and deep worry, Song Xianghua suddenly felt a little sad. At that time, Song Xianghua didn't know how important a mystic class master was to a secular family. Or rather, he didn't want to think about these things at all. At that time, all he wanted was strength and a higher level of cultivation. But as he grew older and joined the Overseas Cultivators Association, he saw and felt too many things, too many people's fickleness. Song Xianghua finally understood how difficult it was for his big brother at that time. It wasn't easy for an aristocratic family without a powerful expert to continue standing. However, he couldn't tell his big brother about his current situation. In fact, it was the same in the Overseas Cultivators Association. When he was young, he used the Overseas Cultivators Association's resources, and his strength rose steadily. In fact, it was equivalent to selling himself to the Overseas Cultivators Association. He lost his freedom. Even if he was a Song family member, he couldn't go back. Just like Tang Yuqi, if he escaped without permission, the consequences would be unimaginable. Because Tang Yuqi was lucky, there was a master protecting him. But for Song Xianghua, if he returned to the Song family, what awaited him would be a life and death struggle. Therefore, he didn't let Xiao Rui tell the Song family about his situation. In fact, the Song family didn't even know about Xiao Rui's own situation. Because the assassin group also had the assassin group's rules, they had to strictly keep her identity a secret with her family. Even if she wanted to retire, it was impossible without a strong person's order. The assassin group behind Xiao Rui would never let her go easily. But now it was different. He had stepped into the peak of heaven rank, and so was Xiao Rui. At this moment, the two of them joined forces to leave this place and return to the Song family in the Central Plains of China. Even if those people weren't happy, they had to worry about their strength. As long as the two of them didn't really leave the organization, whether it was He Luonan or the people behind Xiao Rui, they wouldn't dare to act recklessly. They could stay in the Central Plains of China for a period of time, and even go back for a period of time every year. This way, they could take care of the organization behind them and also improve the Song family's overall strength. All these years, I've let the Song family down. Maybe the Song family didn't have it easy? The other families are suppressing us, right? Song Xianghua, thinking of the past, tears streamed down his face. Second Grandpa, actually, you don't know, my sister is also very powerful. She is now a peak Earth rank master. Xiao Rui quickly comforted. Chapter 3376. Yes, but I heard from her that her boyfriend is very powerful. I don't know what method he used to improve her strength, but if this person wants to be my brother-in-law, he has to go through me first. If he can't even beat me, then he should get lost. Xiao Rui didn't seem to be interested in her sister's boyfriend. Xiao Rui, don't mess around. What's your strength? How many people in the world of cultivation can be your opponent? In the world of assassins, you're a rare existence. Except for the person who disappeared that year, You should be the #1 assassin in the world of assassins, right? If it wasn't for the chance to inherit the power of the spirit beast, do you think you can smoothly step into the peak of the late stage of heaven stage? Moreover, you're at the peak of physical cultivation. Your second grandpa is talented in cultivation. With the help of the elixirs from the Overseas Cultivators Association, I only stepped into the peak of the late stage of heaven stage at the age of 60. Do you think everyone is a cultivation genius? Do you expect Xiao Shan's boyfriend to beat you? Especially since you're an assassin, you're more powerful than the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. In addition, you're an expert in physical cultivation. You're good at speed and strength. Don't bully others. Song Xianghua lectured. Don't mess up your sister's business. Look at you. You don't look like a top master. Hee, I'm just saying. Everyone else is. The sister-in-law is half of the brother-in-law's butt. If he's too weak, how can he protect half of his butt? Xiao Rui said with a smile. Your sister isn't getting married to you. It's fine as long as he can protect your sister. Are you going to marry him too? Song Xianghua put on a serious face and took out the dignity of an elder. You and I haven't gone back for a long time. When we go back, don't criticize the Song family's affairs. Otherwise, if my brother sees us, he might think that we're capable and come back to take over the Song family. That won't be good. Do you hear me? Xiao Rui. Xiao Rui made a face. That's not necessarily true. When I was young, my sister always told me that if there's a good man, she'll give him to me first. What if she gives him to me? How can you remember children's words? Xiao Rui, how old are you? Song Xianghua glared at her. I'm just joking. Okay. Second grandpa, when are we going back? I'm dying to go home. Xiaosu said anxiously. We will depart tomorrow. You should pack your things first and come here to meet me tomorrow morning. Song Xianghua instructed. All right, second grandpa. See you tomorrow. After saying that, Xiao Rui floated out of the window like a gust of wind. She was as fast as she could be. It was rare to see a physical master at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. Her speed was even faster than the purple electric storm beast. Luo Dan returned to his room with an ugly expression. Elder Wang quickly greeted him. President, what happened? Your complexion doesn't look too good. Sigh. Don't mention it. Luo Dan waved his hand with a gloomy expression. After guest Song leaves for the mission, I'm afraid he will no longer be our Overseas Cultivators Association's guest elder. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. After all, our people helped her before. She helped us 3 times to repay our kindness. This is the 3rd time, so she has nothing to do with it. However, Grand Elder Song Xianghua is also going back to the Central Plains. I'm afraid that once he leaves, who knows when he will return. What? Grand Elder Song is leaving too? Elder Wang was shocked. Then you didn't dissuade him? How could I dissuade him? He's not an ordinary person. He's at the same level as me. How could I threaten him? In our Overseas Cultivators Association, I'm the only one at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. Moreover, I'm injured. Do you think I dare to act rashly? Luo Dan shook his head gloomily. Forget it. We can only blame ourselves for the fact that our Overseas Cultivators Association was established too recently. We don't have many masters, and we don't have much sense of belonging to the sect. All these years we've been using cultivation resources to tie them down. Otherwise, we would have disbanded a long time ago. Sai, that's true. However, now that Elder Song Mingyu has left, we no longer have anything to do with guest Elder Song anymore. The strength of our Overseas Cultivators Association has suddenly become much weaker. Elder Wang sighed. Forget it. I'll think of a way in the future. Let's see if my brother can help me. If it doesn't work, I'll turn our association into a branch of the 5 Elements sect. President, he suffered a huge blow today. President, you don't have to be so pessimistic. Things will get better. Elder Wang said. I hope so. He Luodan nodded helplessly. After Xiao Rui settled her matters in the assassin organization, she went to her second grandfather's Song Shenghua's villa the next morning. Although the assassin group behind her also tried their best to retain her, Xiao Rui's strength was there. They did not dare to do anything to her. They could only tell her to finish her task and come back as soon as possible if possible. Second grandfather, I'm ready. Shall I go back now? Xiao Rui was a little excited and expectant. After all, she was a young person. She hadn't gone back for a long time. Her emotions were written all over her face. Well, let's go now. Song Shenghua was also ready. He had already booked the plane tickets. He picked up his luggage and got into a black Mercedes-Benz with Xiao Rui. This was arranged by He Luodan. Although he didn't want Song Shenghua to leave, he had to abide by the etiquette. Otherwise, Song Shenghua would have a reason not to come back. Huh, President He? You're here too? After Xiao Rui got into the car, she suddenly realized that He Luodan was sitting in the front passenger seat of the car. Grand Elder Song and Guest Song are returning home in glory. Naturally, I have to send you off warmly. He Luodan smiled and said, I've put some cultivation elixirs in the car as a gift before we leave. President He, you're welcome. Xiao Rui smiled and nodded. She accepted it with a smile. Of course, she didn't feel guilty. In fact, in the Devil's Trial, the Overseas Cultivator Association helped her. One mission was enough to repay them. However, Xiao Rui was also a person who knew how to repay kindness. That was why she increased the mission to 3 times. She also became a guest elder of the Overseas Cultivator Association. In fact, these things were what she deserved. This is the information of the person you need to kill. He Luodan handed a piece of information to Xiao Rui and said, I believe that Guest Song should have heard of this person. Chapter 3377. Yes, that's him. He Luan nodded. He's just a middle stage, heaven stage expert. Is there a need to gather so much information? Xiao Rui shook her head when she saw Lin Yi's strength. Guest Song, don't underestimate him. This Lin Yi is someone who can call the wind and summon the rain in the world of practitioners in the Central Plains. It's said that he can instantly kill masters with the strength of Sky-class late-phase peak. However, when he was overseas, he didn't manage to do that. Perhaps it's because he's not acclimatized, or maybe it's because of other reasons. But his name in the Central Plains world of practitioners is like thunder to the ears. He Luan Duan said, I won't hide it from you, Guest Song. My brother is the acting head of the 5-element sect, and he's also the one who started this heaven-class trials. He also wants to kill Lin Yi. So he sent 2 Sky-class late-phase peak spiritual masters. One is the sect leader of the Heavenly Elixir sect. His name is Heavenly Silkworm Transformation. He just broke through the peak late stage heaven stage. The other is his disciple, Xiao Er. He's a famous top expert at the peak late stage heaven stage. These 2 people can kill Lin Yi together, but they don't have absolute confidence. That's why I'm asking you to help. Is Lin Yi that powerful? Xiao Rui was a little shocked when she heard He Luan's words. That's right. This information has detailed records of Lin Yi. You have to read it carefully. He Luan nodded seriously. This information was compiled by Ancestor Xianxian. It didn't exaggerate or belittle Lin Yi. It truthfully recorded some things that happened after Lin Yi's debut. Of course, some of these things were based on guesses. There were no witnesses, so they were all marked with question marks to indicate that they were not verified. However, even so, it was enough to shock Xiao Rui. Lin Yi was really a ruthless person in the Central Plains cultivation world. President He, I'll be careful. Xiao Rui secretly clicked her tongue. At this moment, she finally saw Lin Yi as an opponent. That person had offended so many powerful figures in the cultivation world of the Central Plains. yet he was still alive and well. That in itself spoke of a problem. Moreover, the Five Elements sect had been scheming to kill Lin Yi, but they couldn't find a way to do so. Instead, several people had died. This also showed that Lin Yi was not easy to deal with. Well, just be careful. Luonan saw that Guest Song was finally looking at his opponent seriously and felt relieved. The car slowly drove to the airport. Luowu left after sending them to the security checkpoint, while Song Xianghua and Xiao Rui boarded the plane to Beijing. The foundation of the Song family was in Yanjing City. In the past, House Song, House Liu, and House Qin weren't the most prominent families in Yanjing, but with House Yu in front of them, they were too dazzling. These three families became the background. However, ever since House Yu fell, after Lin Yi established the Cultivator Alliance, the lives of these aristocratic families became much better. There were no more conflicts and suppression between them. Everyone became allies and moved forward together. This was the case with House Song. The head of House Song, Song Xiangwen. It was much better than before. Now, House Song had taken over some of House Yu's businesses in Yanjing. Even now, even the hidden houses didn't dare to act rashly in front of Song Xiangwen. There was no other reason than that Song Lingshan had an ambiguous boyfriend, Lin Yi. With Lin Yi around, who would be stupid enough to mess with House Song? Wasn't that looking for death? A taxi stopped at the entrance of an alley. This alley was all House Song's property. It was considered private territory. Of course, taxis couldn't go in. The alley was blocked. Song Xianghua got out of the car with Xiao Rui and walked into the alley. He was dressed very differently, like the upper-class attire of the 30s and 40s. He wore a top hat, a long robe, and gold-rimmed glasses. This style of dressing made many passers-by stop. Of course, there were many extras nowadays, especially in a place like Yanjing. Who knew if Song Xianghua was an actor or not? Both of you, this is private territory. You can't go in. If you're here for sightseeing, please turn around. Song Xianghua and Xiao Rui had just entered the alley when a disciple of House Song stopped them. You're from House Song. Song Xianghua stopped and looked at the grass and trees here. It was just like 40 years ago when he left. However, he didn't recognize this young disciple in front of him. Yes, you know House Song? The disciple froze. Yes, my name is Song Xianghua. Song Xianghua wasn't annoyed by the disciple's obstruction. He smiled and said, I'm the head of your house, Song Xiangwen's younger brother. Ah. The disciple heard Song Xianghua's words and was stunned. You're telling the truth? If what second grandpa said is not true, then what I said is not true either. Xiao Rui walked over and took off her sunglasses. She glared at the disciple. You're second miss. That disciple had seen Xiao Rui 5 years ago. At that time, Xiao Rui was only 14 years old. This year, she was already 19 years old. She had not been home for 5 years, but she still looked the same. Her voice had not changed much, so the disciple recognized her immediately. Second elder master. Second young lady, please come in. I'm sorry. Hee, it's okay. I don't blame you. It'd be weird if you knew me. Song Xianghua waved his hand and said indifferently, Is my big brother here? Second grandpa, I'll take you to see the head of the house. The disciple said quickly. Okay, lead the way. Song Xianghua smiled and nodded. The disciple walked in front of them respectfully and led them to a courtyard house in the innermost part of the alley. There was someone guarding the door. It was an old man with a slightly hunched back. He was a master at the peak of the late phase of golden class. Song Xiaowu, why did you bring people here without permission? Don't you know the rules here? The old man's face darkened as he scolded. Old butler, these two are... The disciple called Song Xiaowu tried to explain. Xiangda? Are you Xiangda? Song Xianghua looked at the old man in front of him and his eyes flashed with excitement. You are. The old butler called Xiang turned to look at Song Xianghua with a hint of suspicion in his eyes. I'm Xianghua, Song Xianghua said excitedly. It was no wonder that Song Xiangda didn't recognize Song Xianghua. Song Xiangda didn't expect him to come back. After all, there had been no news of him for so many years. Song Xiangda even thought that he would never see Song Xianghua in this life. It was just like a poem, leaving home when I was young and coming back when I was old. My accent never changes. Chapter 30, 378. But to Song Xianghua, Song Xiangda was his and his big brother Song Xiangwen's follower when they were young. He was like a little brother to Song Xianghua. His face still looked the same as when he was young, and the only person close to his big brother was him. That was why Song Xianghua guessed that this person might be Song Xiangda. Xianghua, second young master? Song Xiangda's face showed an expression of disbelief. You're Xianghua's second young master? Second young master, you're back? Third grandpa, you don't recognize me? Xiao Rui walked over at this time. It's Miss Ling Ran. You're back too? Song Xiangda's way of addressing them was a bit messy. He still called Song Xianghua the same way he called him when he was young, but he called Xiao Rui the way a housekeeper would call a big house. Yes, I came back with second grandpa. Song Ling Rui nodded. She was Ling Shan's sister. So it's the second miss who found the second young master. Second master. Song Xiangda nodded in realization and changed the way he addressed Song Xianghua to second master. He had already thought of the age difference between him and Song Xianghua. Second master, come with me quickly. If master sees you, he will definitely be very happy. Okay, I miss my big brother too. Song Xianghua nodded. How has House Song been all these years? How are you and my big brother? Second master, we're all fine. Master is now a master at the peak of the late phase of the golden class, and so am I, Song Xiangda said, although I can't say that we're at the top of the aristocratic families, at least we made it through. Of course, this year is even better because the secular families formed the Cultivator Alliance, so there's not much pressure. Man, I came back late. If I came back earlier, it would be easier for you guys. Song Xianghua blamed himself, but it's okay. This time, Xiao Rui and I are back. We'll make House Song famous in the Central Plains. We'll become an existence no weaker than the ancient noble houses. Ah. Song Xiangda listened to Song Xianghua's words and paused for a moment before nodding. Yes, second elder, you were a mystic late phase peak when you left. I'm afraid you've already broken through to Earth class after all these years, right? Second grandpa is now a peak late stage heaven stage expert. Song Ling Rui interrupted. What? Song Xiangda was shocked and shouted. He was stunned on the spot and couldn't speak. Song Xiangwen, who was in the room in the courtyard, heard Song Xiangda's exclamation. Song Xiangwen, who had just come out of the room, said, Lao San, why are you shouting? What happened? Master, you're here? Good news, good news. Old Master Xiang Hua is back. Song Xiangda shouted excitedly. Not only that, according to the second miss, the second master's strength has already broken through to the peak of the late stage of heaven rank. Third brother, are you saying that second brother is back? Xiao Rui also came back? They're all back? After Song Xiangwen heard this, he was shocked and quickly walked over. Seeing Song Xianghua and Song Ling Rui standing beside Song Xiangda, Song Xiangwen suddenly burst into tears. Lao Sen, you're finally back! Big brother, I'm sorry. I didn't know any better when I was young. I left just like that. Song Xianghua lowered his head with some guilt. At this moment, he was no longer the high and mighty grand elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association, nor was he a top cultivator. He was like a child who did something wrong. It's okay, it's okay. It's good that you're back. Song Xiangwen smiled and patted Song Xianghua's shoulder, just like when he was young, full of love and kindness. Yes, I'm back. Only now did I realize how important home is to me. Song Xianghua sighed. Right, Lao-san. I just heard from Lao, so that you're now a peak late stage, heaven stage expert? Song Xiangwen suddenly remembered what Song Xiangda said before. Yes, big brother, it's not just me. Your precious granddaughter is the same as me. She's also a peak late stage, heaven stage expert. Song Xianghua said with a smile. Even I can't say that I can beat her. What? Xiao Rui? You're also a peak late stage heaven stage expert? And you're a peak external expert? Song Xiangwen said in shock. I'm sorry, Grandpa. I hid it from you before. It's the organization's rules. I can't reveal this to my family. Song Lingrui stuck out her tongue in embarrassment. Second Grandpa is the Grand Elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association. I'm also the Foreign Elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association. That's why he knows. Oh? Then now you guys. Song Xiangwen was slightly stunned after listening. Then are you guys going back? Actually, we're coming back now because of our strength. The organization behind us doesn't dare to offend us easily. Song Xianghua explained, especially since Xiao Rui and I are related. We're a family. 2 peak late stage, heaven stage experts working together is enough to shock the overseas cultivation world. So now that we're back, they won't dare to say anything. They won't do anything to us as long as we go back for a period of time every year. Of course, we can stay here for the rest of the time. That's really great. Song Xiangwen said happily. Oh yes, second brother. I'm not surprised that you can become a peak late stage, heaven stage expert, because you've been a martial arts fanatic since you were young. Every day, you've been cultivating. I understand that. But, Xiao Rui, how did you become a top expert? Moreover, you're a top external expert? It's said that there are very few external experts who can cultivate to peak late stage, heaven stage expert. At least, I haven't heard of it yet. It's a coincidence. Song Lingrui pondered for a moment and didn't say the reason. There were too many inside stories involved. The fewer people who knew, the better. Song Lingrui didn't want to implicate her family, although this matter seemed to be settled for the time being. Who knew that those people wouldn't settle the score? Song Xiangwen thought that Song Lingrui couldn't say it because of the rules of the organization behind her, so he didn't ask much. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Our Song family is really blessed. It's just that your sister isn't at home. If she were at home, she would be very happy. Chapter 3379. Xiao Rui, don't mess around. You're a top-notch master now. Why are you still so naughty? Your brother-in-law is House Song's benefactor and also your sister's choice. It's not up to you to decide. Song Xiangwen quickly said. He was very concerned about things that involved Lin Yi. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, House Song wouldn't have its current status. He's a man, and he's still not my opponent. He's not worthy of my sister. Song Lingrui wanted to see the world in chaos. Even if he can't beat me, he should at least tie with me, right? Your sister is very busy now. I don't know if she has time to come back. Let's talk about it when she's free. Song Xiangwen had a headache. He knew that Song Lingrui was a little like a little witch. Although he heard from Ling Shan that Lin Yi was now a Sky-class mid-phase, it was impossible for him to fight against a Sky-class late-phase peak full circle. What Song Xiangwen knew about Lin Yi was limited to the noble house level. At most, he knew a little on the hidden level. As for the ancient level, he really didn't have any information channels, so he didn't know that Lin Yi had shaken the entire Huaxia practitioner world. So he was afraid that Lin Yi would be beaten up by Song Lingrui. That wouldn't be good. No matter what, Lin Yi was House Song's benefactor and someone Ling Shan liked. How could he be beaten up by Song Lingrui? So Song Xiangwen was afraid that Song Lingrui would cause trouble for Lin Yi in private. He didn't even dare to say Lin Yi's name. He could only evade, hoping that Song Lingrui would forget about it in a few days. All right, I'll call her myself later. Song Lingrui didn't want to give up. Second master, I've already ordered the kitchen to prepare a sumptuous banquet. Let's go. Song Shengdao also saw that Song Xiangwen didn't want to talk about Linny, so he changed the topic. That's great. I haven't eaten home food for a long time. I'm drooling. Is there any Yanjing roast duck? Song Lingrui's mouth watered when she heard that there was going to be a sumptuous banquet. Yes, second missy, the chef downstairs is baking. Song Shengda nodded and said, Then what are you waiting for? I want to eat. Sure enough, Song Lingrui temporarily forgot about finding trouble with Lin Yi, which made Song Xiangwen feel relieved. These days, the Hidden Tang family had not been living well. Among the hidden families, other than the Zhao family who had a grudge against Lin Yi, there was also the Yu family who had a close relationship with Lin Yi. Among the other families, the weakest was the Hidden Tang family. The relationship between the Hidden Tang family and Lin Yi was very subtle. Tang Boss's daughter, Tang Yun, was Lin Yi's girlfriend. However, Tang Boss broke off the father-daughter relationship with Tang Yun and even chased away Tang Yun's biological mother, Xiao Ming. In this way, the Hidden Tang family broke off their relationship with Lin Yi. If it wasn't for the friendship between Tang Yun and Lin Yi, the Tang family would probably be in an even more awkward situation. Although Tang Boss went to Snow Valley and obtained Tang Yun's forgiveness, it was only forgiveness. It could only mean that Tang Yun or Lin Yi couldn't find trouble with the Hidden Tang family in the future. However, it was impossible to obtain any benefits from them. Originally, if there were no accidents, it would be good enough that this relationship could be maintained. After all, the Tang family had their own businesses and properties. As long as Lin Yi and Tang Yun didn't find trouble with them, they could live well. However, now, someone had their eyes on the Hidden Tang family. Several of the Hidden Tang family's properties near the Tang family fortress had been robbed. Moreover, the robbers were a group of people similar to death warriors. They didn't communicate with others at all and directly started robbing. Moreover, their strength was very strong, enough to fight against a Heaven Stage Master. Although Tang Taijung was an early-stage Heaven Stage Master, he was surrounded and beaten up by a group of Heaven Stage Masters. Not only did he not gain the upper hand, but he was also seriously injured. This made everyone in the Tang family feel gloomy. Tang Taijung was lying on a wheelchair. Beside him were his eldest son, Tang Boss, his second son, and his grandson, Tang Yun. Everyone tell me, what should we do? Where did this group of people come from? A large group of death warriors with Heaven Stage strength came to rob our Tang family's properties. If this continues, won't our Tang family be robbed clean? Who knows when they will come to our Tang family's base camp to commit murder? I can't stop them even if I want to. Tang Taijung's face was gloomy. The Tang family had become a hidden aristocratic family and had been powerful for hundreds of years. Who would have thought that they would be bullied? I think the most important thing is to find out where these people came from. If they are from the hidden level, we will contact the Hidden Aristocratic Family Arbitration Association and then reveal it to a few powerful ancient sects and ask them to make a decision. Tang Boss said after thinking about it, the hidden level can't have so many Heaven Stage Masters. If there were, then it wouldn't be a hidden level anymore. They would all be in the ancient level. Tang Taijung shook his head. Moreover, that Hidden Aristocratic Family Arbitration Association only exists in name. It's useless to respond. How about we go to Snow Valley and ask for Elder Tang Yun's help? Tang Yun's second son thought about it and said, In the end, Tang Yun is Big Brother's daughter, my niece. She can't just watch as the Tang family is in trouble, right? No, you didn't see Xiao Ming's attitude towards me. Last time when I went with Yu, if it wasn't for Yu, she would have kicked us out. That's already extremely benevolent. How could she stand up for us? Tang Big Bro knew his own limits. He knew that asking Tang Yin for help at this time wouldn't have much of an effect. Moreover, Tang Yin is only an elder of Snow Valley. In the end, she still has the Grand Elder and the Valley Master. With her current strength, even if she makes a move, she won't be a match for those people. That's true. Tang Yin nodded. But this won't do, that won't do. Won't our Tang family be in danger? How about... Tang Yu hesitated and said, "We asked the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for help." The Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Tang Taijung shook his head. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau only administers and coordinates the aristocratic families. With their strength, they can't interfere with the matters of the hidden level. What's the use of asking them? Chapter 30, 380. All right, Tang Taijung nodded. Find out where these people came from and why they're targeting us, the hidden house, and then come up with a countermeasure. Then, who's going to make the call? Boss Tang felt that this was a good idea. At least find out where these people came from first. I'll make the call myself. Boss Tang didn't give a damn about the investigation department before, but now, to show his sincerity, he had to make the call himself. This morning, Linny had just woken up and was making breakfast for Shu and Exen Yen when he got a call from Ling Shan. "Sweetheart, what are you doing?" Ling Shan's voice was soft, and it triggered a physiological reaction in him. "I say, Ling Shan, what are you doing so early in the morning? You don't need anything from me again, do you?" Lin Yi subconsciously thought that Ling Shan had something to ask of him. Ling Shan had been very busy with work before, and Lin Yi had a lot of things to do as well. Lin Yi had found a chance to raise her strength to Earth-class late-phase peak, and Lin Yi had been busy with other things after that. He hadn't seen her since he came back. "I got a promotion," Ling Shan said. "Promotion? You're the chief now. Where's Jun Bro?" Lin Yi paused. "I'm still the vice chief," Ling Shan denied. "Still the vice chief? What kind of promotion is that?" Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Are you messing with me this early in the morning?" "Haha, no. I'm the vice chief of the investigation department and the vice chief of the East Sea Police Department," Ling Shan explained. "Right now, my position as the vice director is even more important than a normal director's position. Wherever I go, people have to listen to my orders and orders. Why'd you go to the investigation department? And you're the vice chief? Uncle Fang's your subordinate now?" Lin Yi found it weird. This change in position was too big. After all, the investigation department had a lot of authority. Director Feng is my direct superior. He got promoted, and the old Chief Xiao was getting old, so he was transferred to another department to be a leader. He's no longer in a dangerous position like this, Ling Shan said. "Isn't it because you increased my strength that I'm here? I've become an Earth-class late-phase peak master, and I'm from a worldly family. They've been keeping in touch with the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and now they've captured me to be their able-bodied man. What about Qintian and the others? If Ling Shan was going, wouldn't Qintian be going too?" Wu Qintian didn't agree. He said he'd wait for you to come back and ask for your opinion. He's just an instructor in name. Ling Shan explained. "I'm different from him. I'm part of the system, and I'm the vice director of the police station. I have to obey my superior's orders, but Wu Qintian is different." "I see." Lin Yi nodded, but he wasn't too interested in the position. "You're looking for me, but I'm not interested." "You're talking about this?" "No, we received a report from the hidden house this morning, and Director Feng hasn't agreed to help them yet, so he asked for my opinion first. That's why I called you first," Ling Shan said weakly. Lin, he didn't know what to say. "Uncle Feng asked for your opinion. Why are you asking for mine? This is an internal matter. Isn't it because it involves the hidden house?" You and Tang Yu from their house. Don't you know each other?" Isn't she familiar? Ling Shan suddenly remembered that she couldn't talk about Tang Yin, so she pushed Tang Yu out. What's going on? Plus, aren't the hidden houses not under the jurisdiction of the investigation department? Lin Yi was confused. Actually, after Uncle Feng took over the position, he wanted to bring the hidden houses under the jurisdiction of the investigation department. You know these uncertainties, and if we don't control them, they might do things that go against the rules of the world. Ling Shan said, "This is an opportunity. Director Feng doesn't want to miss it, but things are troublesome. It'll be fine if we handle it well. But if we don't, we'll lose face, and it'll have the opposite effect. Hidden houses, huh? It's good to integrate them." Lin Yi said faintly, "Uncle Feng is right. This is an opportunity, and if we use it well, it won't be hard to integrate the hidden houses. Once this is done, send a notice to those hidden houses and normal sects in the name of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and the Central Plains Cultivators Alliance. Tell them to join the Central Plains Cultivators Alliance and be under the control of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and me. This will bring about benefits as well. When they're in trouble, I'll help them. If they don't want to, then they'll be my enemies." Ugh. Ling Shan didn't expect Lin Yi to support her like this. She was very touched. "Lin Yi, you're a good man. Thank you. I don't even know how to repay you. Actually, I have a lot of connections with the investigation department. I've trained there before. And no matter what, you and Uncle Feng are the closest people to me. Who else would I help if not you?" Lin Yi smiled. "Tell me, what happened to the hidden house?" "This has something to do with the case I've been investigating." "Lin Yi, do you remember that unsolved bank robbery?" Ling Shan said. "Bank robbery? I think it was Jiang Wen who did it." Lin Yi said straightforwardly. "Only he could make those weird puppets to rob banks and jewelry stores. That's what you say, but I'm a police. I can't do anything without evidence. Plus, he's not doing it anymore, and I can't find any clues." Ling Shan sighed helplessly. "But this case with the hidden Tang house isn't that different from the bank robbery. What do you mean?" Lin Yi asked, interested. Chapter 30, 381. This is similar to the jewelry store and bank robberies, as well as the kidnapping case. You're saying that this is all Jiang Wen's doing? Lin Yi asked directly. Whether or not it's Jiang Wen's doing, we don't know yet. But I feel like these cases are very similar. We can investigate them together. Plus, it's beyond the police. The department is taking over now. Ling Shan said, "The main problem is that in our department, the strongest practitioners are just me and Wu Qintian, who's just an outsider. We're not a match for those death warriors at all." "You're saying that you want me to help?" Lin Yi finally understood why Ling Shan was calling. "Yeah, that's what I was thinking." Ling Shan was a little embarrassed. "Do you have time?" "When do we leave?" Lin Yi asked after some thought. "The sooner the better. House Tang won't be able to hold on much longer." Ling Shan said, "Let's leave today then." Lin Yi thought about it. He didn't have anything to do yet, and Yushu couldn't leave for the next 2 days. Lin Yi didn't have anything else to do either, so he agreed right away. "That's great." Ling Shan was very excited. "Lin Yi, I love you. This is great. I've just arrived at the department, and I've made a huge contribution. From now on, the hidden houses will be under the control of the department, and I'll be the founder." Lin Yi didn't know what to say, but he remembered that Ling Shan was the type of person who cared a lot about achievements and glory. He'd help her if he could. "And come find me when you're ready. All right, you're a good man." Ling Shan hung up happily. Lin Yi had to tell Yushu and Xinyan that he was going out, but this time he planned on bringing Xinyan along. After 2 days of training, Lin Yi realized that Xinyan hadn't fainted at all. In fact, she was full of energy. In other words, the method of training while lying in the energy stones was very doable. Lin Yi would put the stones in the jade space to charge during the day and take them out at night. Basically, the stones wouldn't lose any energy, and there wouldn't be a gap in time. Oh, it smells so good. I think Shield Bro made that pork porridge for me, and yow yow. Yushu woke up and gasped at the sight of the pot of minced meat porridge in the dining room, her mouth watering. Seeing that Shu was back to normal, he couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. It seemed like Shu had accepted the fact that she was going to Flaming Mountain. Xinyan woke up as well, but she wasn't as exaggerated as Yushu. She liked Lin Yi's cooking, but she didn't scream. She just sat at the table quietly and started serving porridge. I'm planning on going out for a bit. There's something I need to take care of. Shu, can you stay here? Lin Yi asked after some hesitation. What about Xinyan's sis? Yushu didn't answer and asked instead. She's coming with me. Lin Yi said. Shu, you know that Xinyan can help me with my training. Then, can Shu come with you? Yushu raised her head and looked at Lin Yi. Shield Bro, this is the last time I'm going out with Shu. Okay. Lin Yi looked at Shu's eyes and didn't have the heart to reject her. Shu was right. This might be the last time he was going to take her out. I'll give Xiaoka a call and we'll go. Xiaoka and Yu Dake went to the orphanage these 2 days. Xiaoka still couldn't bear to leave the orphanage, so she went with her brother to see if there was anything she could do. At the very least, she needed to tell Ken about the future development of the orphanage before she left. Xiaoka heard that Lin Yi was going out, and naturally she rushed back. In fact, the orphanage didn't need her to do much anymore. Her method of making money really wasn't suitable for the orphanage now. The orphanage needed to develop well in the long term, and stealing was definitely not a good idea. Fatty Lai hired a few financial experts to operate a welfare fund and invest all the money into the construction of the orphanage. This was the final development model. The main reason why Lin Yi brought Xiaoka was for safety. With Xiaoka's protection, Lin Yi was basically invincible in a fight with others. Lin Yi was ready when Ling Shan drove over. Her car was still the Cheetah, but after parking it in Lin Yi's villa, she got in Lin Yi's Grand Cherokee. Lin Yi's car was specially modified by the Supernatural Investigation Department. The performance and comfort were good, suitable for long-distance driving. Lin Yi looked at the valiant Ling Shan, suddenly noticing that her chest seemed to have gotten a lot bigger. Did this girl get her breasts enlarged? Feeling Lin Yi's gaze, Ling Shan was a little proud. How is it? You're about to surpass Shu, right? This was the happiest thing for Ling Shan. Shu didn't like her in the past, and she thought that she wasn't inferior to Shu in any way except for the fact that her chest wasn't as big as Shu's. Although the two made up after Lin Yi got injured and fainted, Ling Shan still wanted to surpass Yushu. After Ling Shan joined the Supernatural Investigation Department, her routine training increased a lot. Ling Shan was a spiritual practitioner, so she basically ignored the physical training that only physical practitioners would do. But the Supernatural Investigation Department had their own rules. Even Director Feng Tianlong had to participate in the routine training. So how could Ling Shan be special? What Ling Shan didn't expect, however, was that some of the routine training like push-ups and chin-ups actually helped her chest develop a second time. It was getting bigger and bigger, and now it was finally going to surpass Yushu's. I'm younger than you, I can still grow, Yushu said with disdain. Ling Shan and Ling Shan had made up, but the two still didn't see eye to eye. You're not as tall as me. If you grow any taller, you'll be too heavy, and you'll have to hold your weight when you go out. It's so tiring, Ling Shan said sarcastically. All right, Ling Shan, Shu, stop arguing. What's there to argue about? Look at how nice Xiaoka is, she doesn't mind, Lin Yi said, feeling a headache coming on. Thief sis, can you teach me how you got your chest enhancement? Xiaoka said weakly. Chapter 30, 382. Female Thief. Ling Shan looked at Lin Yi, surprised. You told her? Yeah, she knows. Otherwise, she wouldn't be this close to me. You know her personality, don't you? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Oh. Lingshan nodded and didn't say anything else. The five got in the car. Yu Dake stayed at home to look after the house, and the car headed towards Hidden Tang's house. On the way, Lin Yi felt like he had been to Hidden Tang's house before, but at the same time he felt like he hadn't been there. There were a few fragments in his memory, but they didn't fit together. This made Lin Yi a little confused. What was wrong with him? Ever since he went crazy, Lin Yi seemed to have forgotten a lot of things. Some of them seemed to be very important, but Lin Yi had no recollection of them at all. This made Lin Yi feel helpless, but there was nothing he could do about it. After all, Lin Yi didn't know what he'd forgotten. It was just a feeling, and even if he asked someone else, he wouldn't know how to ask. They wouldn't know what he'd forgotten or what he'd remembered. Lin Yi didn't even know who he'd been with when he'd forgotten those memories. Hidden Tang's house. After hearing that the investigation department had taken over the case, they sent people to investigate as fast as they could. Tang Taijung showed enough sincerity, sending eldest Tang to welcome them at the gate. Of course, from Tang Taijung's point of view, sending his eldest son to greet the people from the investigation department was already giving them enough face. In the past, the investigation department didn't need the head of the house to greet them personally. The jeep slowly approached, and Lin Yi stopped the car beside eldest Tang. But when he saw that only one person from Hidden Tang's house came to greet them, he couldn't help but frown. Of course, Lin Yi wasn't someone who liked to put on airs, but the Hidden Tang's face wasn't for Lin Yi, but for the investigation department, for Lingshan and Tianlong. Their attitude made Lin Yi very unhappy. Lingshan saw that Boss Tang had come to greet them and wanted to get out of the car, but Lin Yi stopped her. Big Bro Tang was originally waiting for the people in the car to get off, but when he saw that the car had stopped for a long time and no one got off, he suddenly became a little annoyed. Even if I beg your Supernatural Investigation Bureau, you don't have to put on airs like this, right? Even the strongest among you isn't at the heaven rank. What kind of ostentatious display are you putting on here? Do I need to personally invite you out of the car? As he thought of this, Big Bro Tang opened his mouth. There was a hint of resentment in his voice. Friends from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, why aren't you getting out of the car? What's the meaning of this? Lin Yi casually opened the window. Before, because of the film on the window, eldest brother Tang couldn't see the people inside the car, so he didn't know that Lin Yi was inside. When Lin Yi spoke, he was shocked. Is this how the Hidden Tang family asks for help? Lin Yi said coldly. We're here, and the Tang family sent you to welcome us alone. Gah. When Big Bro Tang heard Lin Yi speak, this voice was still fresh in his memory. Especially when he saw Lin Yi's face, he was suddenly scared. It's young hero Lin who has graced us with his presence. I thought it was someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I used to be a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, didn't you know? Lin Yi sneered and asked. Huh. Big Bro Tang was stunned. He didn't expect the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to have such a strong backer. Of course, this backer had only recently become powerful. At the level of the Hidden Tang family, they could more or less come into contact with some of the things that happened in the ancient times. They knew some of Lin Yi's deeds. In the ancient times, there weren't many people who dared to go against Lin Yi. Not to mention this, just from the hidden level alone, Lin Yi could already be said to have destroyed any family he wanted. Didn't House Xiao, who had hosted the Hidden House Summit, get wiped out just like that? At that thought, Big Bro Tang quickly said, My father is personally preparing a banquet for all of you. Please forgive me for not being a good host. I'll call him right now and ask if he's ready. Huh. Lin Yi chuckled, not denying it. Big Bro Tang quickly took out his phone and called Tang Taijung. Father, is the banquet ready? If it's ready, come out and welcome us. Young hero Lin and the others are here. Tang Taijung was sitting in the living room, waiting for Lingshan. When he received the call, he froze. Preparing a banquet? Didn't they already prepare a banquet? Plus, Tang Taijung, as the head of the house, didn't need to prepare a banquet himself? Wait, what did Big Bro Tang say? Young Hero Lin was here? He was going to welcome him? Who was this young Hero Lin? But Tang Taijung also knew that Big Bro Tang wouldn't call him for no reason. There had to be a reason why he was lowering his status in front of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. So Tang Taijung stood up and said to Second Bro, go to the kitchen and tell them to prepare a banquet of the highest class. Yes, father. Second Bro Tang was a little puzzled. Why did his father change his mind with just a call from Big Bro? The banquet before was of a high standard, but that was only relative. It could only be said that it was used to entertain guests from the hidden world. The highest class banquet was used to entertain guests from the ancient world. Could it be that such a guest had come today? Tang Taijung thought about who this young Hero Lin was as he walked. A few steps later, when he was almost at the door, he suddenly thought of a person. It made him shiver, and he quickened his steps again. When Tang Taijung reached the Tang Fortress, he saw Lin Yi in the driver's seat, talking to Big Bro Tang. He knew that he had guessed correctly. The only person who could make Big Bro Tang so nervous was Lin Yi. This young man, who didn't even put the ancient world in his eyes, had been suppressed by several families at the Hidden House Summit some time ago. But now, even the people from the ancient sects didn't dare to cause trouble for him. Things were really unpredictable. If Tang Taijung had known that this would happen, he wouldn't have suppressed Lin Yi, and he wouldn't have separated Big Bro Tang and Tang Yin from their father-daughter relationship at the banquet. It was a bad move. One wrong move, and everything went wrong. Young Hero Lin, you're here. I didn't think that this matter would bother young Hero Lin. It's such an honor to have you here, Hero Lin. Tang Taijung said with a smile as he ran over to flatter Lin Yi. Chapter 30, 383. But his words stunned Lin Yi, who was House Tang's son-in-law. Since when did he become House Tang's son-in-law? Seeing Lin Yi standing there, Boss Tang felt awkward. Tang Taijung didn't know what Lin Yi's expression was and didn't know what to say. Shield bro, I think they've gone crazy thinking about their son-in-law. Yushu got out of the car and said to Lin Yi, right, Ice Palace's Bingtang seems to be related to House Tang. Oh, Lin Yi understood. Could it be that House Tang heard that Bingtang was going to be his little wife, and so they treated him as their son-in-law? Seeing Lin Yi's indifferent expression, Boss Tang didn't dare to say more. He thought that Lin Yi was angry at House Tang for breaking off the relationship with Tang Yin at the birthday banquet. If Lin Yi's anger hadn't subsided, wouldn't it be suicide to say more? Young Hero Lin, I've already ordered the kitchen to prepare dinner. Do you want me to sit now, or do you want to rest first? Tang Taijung didn't dare to mention Tang Yin anymore. He became more and more respectful towards Lin Yi. He even called himself I to ask for Lin Yi's forgiveness, although there were some dishes that Tang Taijung had asked Second Bro to add later. It didn't mean that all the dishes had to be served before they could be eaten. So, with the addition of the dishes that had been prepared beforehand, it was time to sit down and enjoy the banquet. I'm not hungry nor tired. We came here to solve a problem. Let's talk about your hidden house Tang first. Lin Yi waved his hand and rejected Tang Taijung's suggestion. He went straight to the main topic. Lin Yi was a chef himself. He didn't need this dinner. He was also a practitioner. This kind of journey was nothing to him. Ah, that's good. Master Lin, Chief Song, this way please. Who are these three? Tang Taijung didn't know Yushu or Xiaoka. Hidden House use Yushu, Thief Sex Flying Sparrow Warrior, and Sky Elixir Sex Kong Mingming's brother's fiancé. Lin Yi gave a simple introduction. They're all my closest friends. Ah, I've heard a lot about you. Tang Taijung quickly cupped his fists and said. However, he had never heard of these three people before, especially the last one, Kong Mingming of the Heavenly Elixir Sect. He knew Elder Kong, But how did Kong Mingming's brother's fiancée get involved with Lin Yi? This Lin Yi was really amazing. How could this be possible? Then Kong Mingming agreed? However, he seemed to have agreed. Otherwise, why would he not even dare to fart until now? With that thought, Tang Taijung felt that Lin Yi was even more amazing. Elder Tang, you're really knowledgeable. Yushu used to be from the common house Qin. She just found out that she's from House Yu. She made up the name Flying Sparrow Warrior. Her name is Xiaoka. Lin Yi said. As for Wang Xinyan, I've already forced Kong Mingming to tell his brother to scram. She's my girlfriend now. Tang Taijung immediately blushed with shame. He had only said a few words of compliment. How could he have known that he had flattered the wrong person? He immediately felt a little depressed. The people around Mr. Lin are all ruthless people, so they must be famous, but he had heard that Lin Yi had actually forced Kong Mingming's brother to scram. Just how powerful did he have to be to force Kong Mingming to submit? The group entered the Tang house's guest room. Tang Taijung wanted to give the main seat to Lin Yi, but Lin Yi waved his hand and sat on the guest seat. Lin Yi didn't care at all. Elder Tang, it's not like we've never met before. Let's talk. All right, I won't hold back. It's like this. With that, Tang Taijung told Lin Yi and the others about the things that had happened in the Tang property. Of course, these were all things that Tang Taijung had told Lingshan before. So you're saying that these people have been robbing us these past 2 days? Lin Yi asked. Yes, they came yesterday and the day before yesterday. They came consecutively. I don't know if they'll come again today. Tang Taijung said helplessly. Our hidden house Tang just started a lot of businesses in the common world. If this keeps up, we're going to go bankrupt. Although the hidden Tang family used to have business, it was all in the dark. Now that the Hidden Family Association's restrictions had failed, the Tang family became unscrupulous. Of course, it wasn't just the Tang family. Other hidden families were the same. Everyone ran to the common world to make money. Hidden families had many ways to make money anyway. As a matter of fact, the hidden Tang family wanted to earn a huge sum of money, so they invested all of their family's assets into many industries. The jewelry industry, the rare medicinal material industry, the retail and wholesale industry, the private loan industry, and so on. Originally, these industries had the support of House Tang, and they were all thriving. But who would have thought that a group of robbers would suddenly appear and start robbing House Tang's properties? Jewelry stores, rare medicine stores, retail stores, private lending companies, all of them were robbed. However, House Tang couldn't close down, or else the companies that had just gained popularity would have to start all over again. So, House Tang could only ask for help from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau while replenishing their resources. If that's the case, then why don't we just go to your stores and have a look? If someone tries to rob us, we'll be able to act immediately? Lin Yi said after some thought. That's a good suggestion. But the problem is that House Tang's properties are very scattered. We have properties in many cities nearby. With so many properties, if we go to one, we might not even see the robbers for a month. Tang Taijung said with a bitter smile. F***CK, aren't you hidden houses not allowed to do business? Why do you have so many properties? When Lin Yi heard that these properties weren't in the same place, and were even in different areas, he glared at Tang Taijung. Then there's no other way. We can only wait until you get robbed, and then we'll go catch the robbers. That's the only way. Tang Taijung nodded. Although he knew that there might be losses, at least Lin Yi's arrival could minimize the losses. Then, everyone, let's go to the restaurant first. Then let's go. Lin Yi didn't have anything else to do, so he nodded and agreed. In order to get on Lin Yi's good side, Hidden House Tang had put in a lot of effort this time. The second Tang had the chefs pull out all the stops, making a feast that was similar to the Manchu Han Imperial Feast. Chapter 30, 384. Xinyan was a shy eater. This had always been her personality. Ling Shan, on the other hand, was worried about the case, and so she only ate a little. Yushu was a foodie in the first place, and Xiaoka didn't get to eat anything good in the orphanage. With so much good food in front of her, it would be a waste if she didn't eat it. Naturally, she wanted to eat as much as she could. As the two of them were eating happily, Tang Taijung's cell phone suddenly rang. Tang Taijung wanted to reject the call. He didn't want to disturb Lin Yi and the others, but Lin Yi stopped him. "Answer it. It might be something." "All right." Tang Taijung nodded and quickly picked up the phone. However, after listening to 2 sentences, his face changed. "What? The gold shop in Lihuan County got robbed?" "All right, I got it. Elder Tang, is something wrong?" Lin Yi asked as he put down the cutlery in his hand. "That's right. Our hidden house Tang shop in Lihuan County got robbed, and they're committing the crime right now." Tang Taijung seemed very worried. "Let's go now, Ling Shan and I. Shu, Xiaoka, and Xinyan, you guys stay here and continue eating. We don't need you guys." Lin Yi said quickly, "I can help you." Xiaoka threw the plate in her hands away. "It's just some sky class, early phase. It'll be fine." Lin Yi waved his hand. "You guys are tired from the long journey and haven't eaten. Ling Shan and I will be fine." Then, "All right." Xiaoka was very obedient, of course. She listened to the male thief. She knew that Lin Yi wouldn't do anything he wasn't confident in, and if there really was danger, he wouldn't reject her. Lin Yi, Ling Shan, Tang Taijung, and Boss Tang left the banquet hall quickly, and Lin Yi asked as they walked, "How far is this Lihuan County from here?" 40 minutes by car. Tang Taijung said after some thought. "Then we don't need to go." Lin Yi stopped. "Ah." Tang Taijung stared blankly for a moment before he immediately understood Lin Yi's meaning. He bitterly smiled and said, "Yeah, these people robbed very quickly. The slowest one didn't take more than 15 minutes. They came and left in a hurry. If we rush over now, we won't even see their shadows." "Grandfather Tang, when did you start fighting with those people? How did you get there before those people left?" Lin Yi asked. "It's like this. The first place they robbed was one of the Tang family's own material management stations. This is the organization responsible for the daily expenses of our hidden Tang family. There are some natural treasures and cash in the station." Elder Tang replied, "That place is relatively close to here, so I was able to get there in a short amount of time." "I see. After that, the places they robbed became the Tang family shops and companies?" Lin Yi nodded and asked. "Yes." Elder Tang sighed. "It seems I have overlooked this point. Based on the current situation, it will be very difficult to fight them face to face." "Let's not talk about that for now. What I find strange is, how did these robbers know what industries your Tang family owns? They even know which city and street it is located in. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? Could it be that you have a mole inside?" Lin Yi couldn't help but suspect this. It was quite an inconceivable matter. "That's not it. It's because the account books and distribution maps of these industries were in the material management station before. The material management station is also responsible for coordinating the cash flow of these shops. Those criminals got it when they robbed the material management station." Tang Taijung explained. "So that's how it is. Then you were really careless and gave yourself to the robbers." Lin Yi felt a headache coming on. "Do you have a copy of the distribution map of your family's industries? Let me have a look." "Yes, yes." Tang Taijung heard this and quickly turned to Elder Tang. "Boss, go get Second and Yu to the scene of the crime. Bring the distribution map of our family's industries here." "Yes, father," eldest brother Tang replied and retreated. After a while, Elder Tang returned with a map of their hidden family's industries and spread it on an empty table in the dining room. "Mr. Lin, look." Tang Taijung pointed at a few industries on the map. "These industries have been robbed, and this is Lihuan County. The gold shop here was robbed today. Do you have the sequence of the robberies? Mark the sequence of the numbers." I'll see if I can find the pattern of the robbers' movements, Lin Yi said to Tang Taijung. Ling Shan's eyes lit up at Lin Yi's words. She couldn't help but admire Lin Yi. In fact, this was how she usually solved cases. But she was surprised that Lin Yi mentioned it. Ling Shan admired Lin Yi's speed in solving cases. But Lin Yi didn't follow the rules. It was like the first time he found the bank robbers. He just walked around the cliff and found the location of the robbers. It was the same after that. So Ling Shan thought that Lin Yi was using some special abilities of a practitioner to solve cases. But today, it seemed that Lin Yi was very familiar with the process. Perhaps it was because there weren't many clues this time. So Lin Yi started following the normal procedure. Before, Lin Yi was confident that he could find the suspects directly. All right. Tang Taijung quickly picked up his pen and started drawing on the map. But when he was done, Lin Yi was speechless. This was a completely random crime. One day, the next, there was no pattern to follow. Many of the crime locations were completely different from each other. For the robbers, this was the most time-consuming method, but it was also the most effective way to avoid waiting for the right opportunity. It seemed that these robbers weren't afraid of anyone, but they were still worried about something. But this increased the difficulty of solving the case for Lin Yi and the others. Ling Shan, what do you think? Lin Yi wasn't a professional after all. He had a lot of unique ways to solve cases, but he couldn't do anything about this kind of theory. Chapter 30, 385. If push comes to shove, we'll just have to wait at a place they haven't robbed before. Wait, Elder Tang, what do you mean by this? The third and sixth crime locations are the same? Yes, who would have thought that they'd go back to the same shop again? We just restocked the goods and got robbed again. Elder Tang said, troubled. It's a random crime, and there's a possibility of going there again. That makes it harder for us to wait. Ling Shan said as she slapped her forehead, evidently troubled. I think they might rob this place next time. Yushu walked over with a piece of tiramisu in her hand, sucking on her fingers as she pointed at an antique shop on the map. Is there any proof? Ling Shan blinked, not understanding why Yushu would say that. I think so. Yushu didn't explain. What do you think? Prophet Shu's better than you, right? Prophet Shu? What a mess. Ling Shan frowned. Shu, don't talk nonsense. You're targeting me, but don't bring your emotions into work. This kind of judgment can affect a lot of things. Lin Yi wanted to tell Yushu to stop messing around, but when she called herself Prophet Shu, he thought of something and his heart moved. Yushu's words had come true many times in the past, such as Zhao Qibing's skyscraper and legs. Lin Yi used to think that it was a coincidence, but after hearing Yuxing's words, Shu and Ning as prophets should have a sixth sense in this area. Then, what she said about robbing an antique shop might really be possible. With that thought, Lin Yi said, let's go, we'll go set it up tonight. She'll bro trust Shu. Yushu was very pleased that Lin Yi listened to her. Ling Shan paused. You trust her that much? We're just going to find a random place to wait for them anyways. Since Shu suggested it, we'll go here then. Lin Yi smiled casually. But the criminals didn't seem to have done anything to antique shops before. From a certain point of view, they probably wouldn't choose antique shops. After all, there's not much cash here, and antiques aren't easy to cash out. Ling Shan analyzed. If this was really in Jiang Wen's doing, he would be able to sell the drugs and firearms, let alone the antiques. Lin Yi said, all right, let's go there then. Ling Shan didn't really trust Yushu, but she trusted Lin Yi a lot. She nodded in agreement. Therefore, they packed up and went to an antique shop in Keikai Town that very night. Keikai Town was an ancient town with a large antique market. The Tang family antique store was located there. Lin Yi was driving a Grand Cherokee, while eldest brother Tang Taijung, and the others were riding in a Land Cruiser. Both cars had excellent off-road performance, so it was not a problem for them to traverse the small roads of the ancient town. Lin Yi's guess was right. This was all Jiang Wen's doing. Jiang Wen had failed once in Donghai, and his plan to rob a hidden house had to be put on hold. After a period of silence, he saw that the time was right and decided to make a comeback, targeting the hidden house of Tang. First, Hidden House Tang was quite far from Donghai, and Lin Yi wouldn't bother with their business. Second, Hidden House Tang's business was very big, and they had invested in many profitable industries. It would be easy for them to get some benefits. Master Wen, I heard that Hidden House Tang asked for help from the Occult Investigation Department, and that bitch Lingshan got transferred to the department as the vice director. She's our bane. Chuanjia said unhappily. Why don't we just kill her and be done with it? No, that song girl is Lin Yi's woman. I hate Lin Yi, but that guy is getting more and more vicious these days. Even ancient people aren't a match for him. It's best if I don't mess with him. He has a lot of people backing him now, too. I didn't think that Meng Yao would become the palace master of the ancient Night Palace. I really can't get into a conflict with Lin Yi. Jiang Wen said hatefully, just avoid that song girl, and if we really meet her, don't hurt her. Just retreat. Talk to the hypnotist later and give him an order. Understood. Chuanjia nodded. Then where should we rob tomorrow? Tomorrow. Jiang Wen opened up a map in front of him. It was a map of the properties he'd robbed from House Tang. This was a great weapon for robberies. Jiang Wen pointed at a location on the map. This antique shop. We've robbed so many gold shops, it's time for a change. We'll take some antiques and smuggle them out. All right, I'll go set it up right away. Chuanjia replied. Lingshan didn't think that the robbers would target this antique shop. After all, the transportation here wasn't very convenient. From an escape perspective, it wasn't easy to run away from. There were only small roads in the fields, and even an off-road car wouldn't be able to go that fast. Of course, she was only thinking from the perspective of a normal criminal. Jiang Wen wouldn't even think about these problems. This place was 3 hours away from the Tang headquarters, and even if the roads weren't easy to run from, his men would be long gone by the time the Tang came. Plus, even if they did come, they might not be able to stop his men. This was why Jiang Wen was so fearless and chose to target House Tang alone. The shopkeeper of the antique shop was a former disciple of House Tang, only mystic mid-phase. He wasn't a match for the robbers at all, and he'd been under a lot of pressure these days. Now that Tang Taijung had come with help, he let out a breath of relief. Disciple Tang Xiaogui greets the head of the Tang family, young Master Tang, second Master Tang, and all the masters present. Tang Xiaogui said respectfully, You don't have to be so polite to us, but to these people, you have to be extremely respectful. This is Master Lin Yi. This is Director Song of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. This is Miss Chin, Miss Wang, and Miss Yu. They are all powerful heroines. Tang Taijung introduced. Yes, Tang Xiaogui replied quickly. The food here was obviously not as good as that in the Tang family fort. Although Tang Taijung also tried his best to order banquets from the most famous restaurants in the town, the standard was not as good as that of the Tang family fort, and the variety of dishes were not as good. Chapter 30, 386. It was a quiet night. Lin Yi hugged Xinyan and practiced, while Xiaoka and Yushu laid beside Lin Yi. There were limited rooms here, and Lin Yi stayed here in case something unexpected happened. Yushu and Yushu didn't want to stay in an inn, so they slept together with Lin Yi. Fortunately, Lin Yi, Yushu, and Xiaoka were close enough that they didn't need to be shy. They were tired, too, and fell asleep the moment they lay down. Lin Yi, on the other hand, kept an eye on the movements outside as he practiced. However, these robbers didn't seem to be working at night. They had been doing it in the day, as if they were looking down on House Tang. They didn't want to commit crimes at night. The next day was uneventful as well. There were quite a few customers in the antique shop, but there weren't many transactions. Most of the customers paid with credit cards and very few paid with cash. This made Lingshan frown. She felt that the robbers shouldn't have chosen this shop with such a low cash flow. Morning, noon, and afternoon were quiet. The robbers didn't come here, nor did they come to the other shops of House Tang. Just when Lingshan thought that Yushu was bullshitting, a few people in white shirts and black pants barged into the antique shop without warning. After they came in, without saying a word, they began to move things down from the antique shelves and move them to a white van at the entrance. Lin Yi had heard about how these people did things, but seeing it with his own eyes, he still felt that these people were too arrogant. They didn't put anyone in their eyes at all. However, Lin Yi felt that these people's eyes were a little dull, similar to the cyborgs Jiang Wen had made. "Stop!" Lin Yi shouted at one of the cyborgs, but the cyborgs didn't seem to hear him at all. Lin Yi had no choice but to block the cyborg's path. This time, the biohuman finally noticed Lin Yi. He threw the antique bottle in his hand at Lin Yi. These people were all following the hypnotist's instructions. They did not have their own thoughts, only instructions. The hypnotist had shown them Lingshan's picture, and Lingshan was on their white list. They wouldn't attack her, but Lin Yi wasn't. The cyborg, on the other hand, started attacking Lin Yi the moment he was stopped. This antique bottle was worth at least a few 100,000 yuan. Although Lin Yi had the money, he didn't want to waste it. He directly put it into the space of the jade pendant. Anyway, it was a mess now, and no one would ask about this. He could just give a perfunctory answer afterwards. Tang Taijung wouldn't dare to ask too much. Indeed, although Tang Taijung was puzzled about where the bottle went, he didn't even dare to fart. There was no other reason. He was afraid of affecting Lin Yi's battle. If it distracted Lin Yi, he would be guilty. So, if a broken bottle was gone, then so be it. It didn't matter how it disappeared. Boom! Lin Yi threw a punch at the robber in front of him. He only used the 10th form of Frenzy Fist. His goal was to test the strength of this cyborg in front of him. However, what disappointed Lin Yi was that he only used the 10th form of Frenzy Fist, and the cyborg's chest caved in. The cyborg was sent flying and fell to the ground. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and struggled, but he couldn't get up. This kind of strength was not a strong opponent at all. Logically speaking, with Tang Taijing's strength, he could easily kill these people. Why was he injured instead? Lin Yi was puzzled, but what happened next solved his doubts. The cyborgs who were moving the antiques felt that their companion was being attacked. They all put down what they were doing and attacked Lin Yi together. There were a total of 5 people left, and all of them attacked Lin Yi. When Yu Xiaoke saw this scene, she instantly panicked. She wanted to use Nuwa's heaven mending technique to protect Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi saw this and shook his head, saying there's no need. I'll test their strength first. If it doesn't work, I'll call you. Okay. Yu Xiaoke nodded, but she still used the mantra. However, she didn't use it. She was just prepared. The 5 people attacked Lin Yi at the same time. Lin Yi used the mantra to defend himself, and then he hit one of them. Boom! 4 fists landed on Lin Yi at the same time. Only one person was sent flying by Lin Yi. Lin Yi still used the 10th form of Frenzy Fist. Early stage of Heaven class, Lin Yi felt the strength of these 4 people. They attacked together. Even if Lin Yi used pure qi to protect his body, he still almost vomited blood. He quickly used the mantra to heal his injuries. Although the injuries were not serious, Lin Yi finally understood how Tang Taijun got injured. At most, he could fight 5. He attacked 1 person, and the others attacked him at the same time. It would be strange if he didn't get injured. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Yi's strength was much higher than theirs, and Lin Yi could heal his injuries quickly, he would really be injured. And so, Lin Yi did the same thing, taking out every single biohuman one by one. He couldn't avoid taking a few more punches. But the good thing was that these people didn't have any sort of pattern to their attacks. They were all direct, and Lin Yi was able to react and defend with ease. The robbers were all beaten to the ground by Lin Yi. The first 5, Lin Yi didn't show any mercy. Looking at the degree of damage to their chests, they probably wouldn't last long. But the last one, Lin Yi only knocked him to the ground, temporarily incapacitating him. Lin Yi wanted to keep at least one person alive, although Lin Yi didn't think that he would be able to get anything out of them. Ling Shan, capture this person and hand the rest to Elder Tang. Send them to the cemetery. Lin Yi said, "All right." Ling Shan skillfully cuffed the last biohuman. The others were clearly not going to survive. Tang Taizheng immediately ordered the Tang disciples to help, dragging them away. The antiques that were moved to the car were also returned. Tang Taizheng was very grateful to Lin Yi. If it weren't for Lin Yi, he would have lost a lot of money today. Not to mention, he would have lost tens of millions. Young hero Lin, thank you for helping us today. Tang Taizheng said gratefully, "I've prepared a small gift for you. I hope you won't reject it." "What is it?" Lin Yi didn't pretend to be polite and asked directly. Chapter 30, 387. Plus, Tang Taizheng was really afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't want it. He wanted to build a relationship with Lin Yi so that he could trouble Lin Yi the next time. So he had to make Lin Yi happy. It's a bowl used by a leader of the everyday and everyday sect. It's a rare antique. How much is it worth? Lin Yi asked back. This, if it's the market price, it should be around 10 to 20 million, right? Tang Taizheng didn't expect Lin Yi to ask like that, but he still made a rough estimate. After all, any practitioner house that got their hands on something like this wouldn't sell it easily. This was something that could be traded for training resources, and it couldn't be measured with money. Oh, then 15 million. I'll give you an account number, and you can transfer the money over. Lin Yi said directly, you can keep the bowl for yourself, or you can sell it to the everyday and everyday sect. You can get a good price. Ugh, isn't it just 15 million? I'll give you 20 million. Hero Lin, you misunderstood me. This bowl is a thank you gift, and I'm not done yet. Tang Taizheng gave the bowl to Lin Yi because he thought that Lin Yi wouldn't lack money. Lin Yi's cauldron was a very profitable item, so he didn't mention money. If he knew that Lin Yi liked money, he would have asked first. Oh, that's fine. Xiaoka, give him the account number. Lin Yi wasn't very interested in the bowl, so he put it in the jade space. The account number is XXXXX, and the name is Songshan Orphanage. Xiaoka said, Ahem. Okay, I'll remember. Tang Taizheng paused. He realized that Lin Yi was doing this for the orphanage, not for himself. But it didn't matter. The money was given because of Lin Yi. It didn't matter who he gave it to, as long as Lin Yi was grateful. If there's nothing else, let's go back first. Lin Yi looked at Yushu, surprised. It seemed that Yushu's prophecy ability was real. Yu Yuxing's words made sense. Okay, I will arrange the car. Tang Taizheng quickly responded. Little Shu, I really have to thank you this time. I didn't expect you to be able to guess their crime location. Lingshan, on the other hand, was very straightforward. Yushu had guessed the location correctly, and that was why she and Lin Yi were able to get rid of the robbers. They'd even captured one of them. Yushu, other than Lin Yi, was the biggest contributor. What do you think? Are you convinced now? Yushu said proudly. So what if I admire you for solving the case? Lingshan, on the other hand, didn't let her emotions affect her decisions. She said seriously, Shu, do you think the robbers will commit more crimes? Where is their next target? It's still here, Yushu said. It's still here. Lingshan paused. Tang Taizheng, who had just gone to prepare the car, paused as well. He quickly asked, Young Master Lin, Chief Song, should we stay here for a while? Tang Taizheng trusted Yushu very much. She was a prophet, after all. She said they would rob an antique shop, so there had to be a reason why Yushu said the robbers would come again. We have to. He shook his head. They've lost this time. Logically speaking, we wouldn't stay here. The robbers have the same thought, so they'll do the opposite. If we stay here and they see us, they won't move. You're right. Tang Taijung nodded. Then what should we do? We'll pretend to leave first and find a place to stay. We'll be able to get to this place as soon as possible. Yi said. That's the only way. Thank you, young Master Lin. Tang Taijung said quickly. Trouble is secondary. I've helped House Tang solve their problem, so shouldn't we talk business? Yi said faintly as he looked at Tang Taijung. What business? Tang Taijung paused. He thought that Yi wanted some sort of reward. After all, the reward was only for helping out this time. If he wanted Yi to stay here, he'd have to pay a price. Why else would Yi keep helping him? Let's find a place to stay first. We'll talk later. Yi waved his hand and walked out. Chapter 30, 388. That's... Tang Taijung paused. He didn't expect Yi to be talking about this. In actuality, how could Tang Taijung not know that the department controlled the common houses? But there weren't many of them that they could actually control. They could only coordinate among them. The one who was truly effective was Yi. Yi's cultivator union made these common houses submit to Yi, listening to Yi's orders. Only then did the department's words matter. Now, the department was probably starting to make a move on the hidden houses. Should he agree or not? Logically speaking, House Tang asking for help from the department was equivalent to throwing out an olive branch. But House Tang was more inclined towards a cooperative relationship. Things could be discussed and not controlled. But since Yi had said it, he didn't dare to reject, and he was afraid of losing face for the hidden houses. Next, I'm preparing to expand the scope of the Practitioners Association. My Practitioners Association and the Supernatural Investigation Department are two different groups. I've already appointed Lingshan as the vice chairwoman, helping me manage these things. Yi didn't wait for Tang Taijung's reply and continued. The hidden houses that join the Cultivator Union will receive my protection, but they'll also have to accept Chairman Song's management. Of course, we won't care if anything happens to those who don't join. After all, our energy is limited, and we can only help the members of the Cultivator Union. Elder Tang, what's your decision? It's young Hero Lin's Cultivator Society. I know that. I've been wanting to join for a long time. I heard that Hidden House Han, House Shuang, and House Pai are all members? Tang Taijung asked. Yes, they're definitely the first batch. Yi nodded. The rest is up to you, Elder Tang. If you agree now, you'll be one of the first batch. You'll be treated differently. All right, I'll join. Tang Taijung didn't hesitate anymore and made the decision. Hidden House Tang is willing to join young Hero Lin's Cultivator Union and will be under Chairman Song's management. Well, if that's the case, then there's nothing else. I'm going to rest. I still have to fight the robbers tomorrow. Yi nodded with satisfaction. Things were going well. Of course, if it weren't for the robbers, the Hidden Tang family probably wouldn't have agreed so easily. After all, the situation was pressing. All right, young Hero Lin, please. Tang Taijung hurriedly stood up to send him off. Tang Yu and the others also stood up. Yi nodded and went to rest, but Yushu and Lingshan had to be in the same room as Yi. Xiaoka had to join them as well. Still, Yi wasn't actually going to sleep. He was training with Xinyan in his arms, and it didn't really matter if there was one more or one less person in the room. And so, a rather ridiculous scene happened at night. Yi hugged Xinyan and laid on the bed. Lingshan, on the other hand, was very happy today. The Occult Investigation Department was going to shine in her hands. In the past, the department couldn't even control the noble houses. But now, they could control the hidden noble houses. Only Ling Shan could understand the difference. The occult investigation department was finally strong, and Ling Shan, as the vice director, felt very proud. And so, in her heart, Ling Shan loved Lin Yi very much. Seeing Lin Yi hugging Xinyan on the bed, she couldn't wait to lie down on the other side of Lin Yi. It wasn't that she was in a rush, but this was the only way she could express her gratitude and love for Lin Yi. But, seeing that Ling Shan was on the bed, Yushu wasn't going to back down. "Hey, Song Fox. I'm Shield Bro's small wife, and I'm the one who solved the case today. I want to sleep next to Shield Bro." Ling Shan didn't want to let Yushu have it. She was the one who took the initiative. So how could she let someone else have it? She was usually very domineering towards other people. But remembering that Yushu was the one who solved the case today, she hesitated and moved away. "I'll let you sleep then." Oh. Yushu didn't hold back and happily laid down next to Lin Yi. But when it came to Xiaoka, she didn't fight for it anymore. No matter what, the male thief would always belong to her, and the others could do whatever they wanted. Xiaoka laid down quietly next to Ling Shan. They were both very petite, and the 8-meter-long bed was more than enough for them to sleep on. Actually, no one dared to do anything sneakily when sleeping on the same bed. Even Yushu didn't dare move recklessly, because Lin Yi was in the middle of practicing. It wouldn't be a joke if he went crazy. Yushu could still remember the last time she went crazy. If it weren't for Tang Yin, Lin Yi wouldn't have woken up at all. These days he'd been fighting and running all the time. Even a god of war like Lin Yi was feeling a bit tired. But with Xinyan's help, the more energy he used up, the easier it was for him to replenish his energy at night. These days he could clearly feel that his third stage of the art of dragon mastery was showing signs of completion, and this was a very pleasant surprise to him. However, reaching the perfection of the third level of the art of dragon mastery was just the beginning. He still needed to forge a heaven-ranked weapon of his own. Only with a heaven-ranked weapon could he open the fourth stone door. Who knew what kind of benefits lay behind the fourth stone door? Lin Yi was looking forward to it. Yushu, Ling Shan, and Xiaoka fell into a deep sleep after a long day. Lin Yi had no choice but to put the energy stones under Xinyan's bed. But there were too many of them. It wasn't a problem for Xinyan. After Lin Yi left, only the hidden Tangs were left in the meeting room. "Let's hear it. What's your stance on my decision?" Tang Taijung asked the members of the Tang family. "You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."